Sora found himself standing in that place once again. He looked down at his hands, the familiar feeling of strangeness washing over him as curiosity filled his gaze. The air felt heavy, melancholic, almost otherworldly. All around him stretched a floating island adrift in thick rolling smoke. The island hung suspended in the gray, suffocating sky like some forgotten remnant of another world. Crumbling Western-style buildings rose like decayed monuments, their walls cracked and windows long shattered. It was as if no life had ever existed here at all, a place lost to time and memory. And then, amidst the haze and the ruins, a figure appeared, a towering man, his presence striking, with broad shoulders and long pointed ears resembling those of an elf. His expression was unreadable, but his voice rang clear and commanding through the silence. "Come, boy," the man called out, his voice both ominous and strangely familiar. "I shall wait for you at the edge of the abyss." A radiant light shone from his eyes, piercing the murky air like twin beacons. Sora tried to move toward him, but before he could take a step, the scene dissolved. Sora woke up with a start, sweat clinging to his skin, his breath ragged. His heart pounded against his ribs as the remnants of the dream clung stubbornly to his mind. "That weird dream again," he muttered to himself, wiping the perspiration from his face. A voice called out from the other room. "Sora, we'll be late!" his father shouted. "I'm coming!" Sora called back, forcing himself to sit up. In the shower, the image of the mysterious man lingered in his mind. The abyss. It was so vivid, so real. Why did it feel like he knew that man? Why did his presence seem to stir something deep within him? The questions hung unanswered as the water streamed over him. As he brushed his teeth, Sora tried to laugh it off. "Maybe I've just been studying too much lately," he told his reflection, though a gnawing unease remained. Stepping out into the small, cluttered apartment, Sora was greeted by his father, who patted his head fondly. "Overslept again, huh? Don't treat me like a kid, Dad. I'm already 15, Sora grumbled, ducking away from his father's hand. "So what?" his father teased, flexing a brawny arm. "Look at this strong, muscular body of mine." "I'm not looking," Sora scoffed, turning away in mock disgust. "If we didn't live in such a tiny apartment, I wouldn't have to see you naked every day." His father laughed heartily. "Well then, when your old man gets rich, I'll buy us a big house. You and Riku can have your own rooms too." "You've been saying that for 5 years now," Sora replied with a sigh. "Life's gotten a lot easier since Riku joined the self-defense force," his father added, his tone softening. "Is that so?" Sora murmured, his thoughts drifting to his older brother. It had already been 3 years since Riku enlisted in the self-defense forces. Sora had made up his mind to follow in his brother's footsteps one day. He thought about how it would be time to say goodbye to this small, lively life. To his dad, who always joked around and sometimes felt unreliable, and to his mom, who could be strict, but loved them all more than anyone. It was comforting to have them there. If only this ordinary life could go on forever. They gathered around the small breakfast table, plates of simple food laid out before them, and then, without warning, the ground trembled. The walls shuddered, plates clattering as a low, ominous rumble filled the air. But deep down, Sora had always known this peaceful life wouldn't last forever. What he hadn't expected was for it to end like this. Outside, towering above the city, an enormous, ominous structure appeared. A giant tower rising impossibly high, blotting out the sky. "You've got to be kidding me," Sora whispered in horror as he stared up at the monstrous structure, dread knotting in his stomach. He hadn't known then, but the appearance of that tower would go on to change the history of mankind forever. What he did know in that moment, though, was that this tower, it was connected to his dreams. In his mind, Sora recalled the last words his brother had spoken to him in a weak, reassuring voice. "It's all right. I'll just have to follow the self-defense force's instructions, and then I can come home soon. I promise." That night marked the last time Sora had any contact with his brother. The news kept insisting there would be no problems as long as people stayed inside their homes. But soon, the broadcast stopped altogether. The same emergency message repeated endlessly on the radio, like a recording on loop. Then came the order to evacuate. A dark mist began to rise from the monster's body. It swirled in the air and then, as though obeying some unseen command, shot into Sora's body. He gasped, doubling over as warmth spread through him. His wounds closed, and an odd sense of strength filled his limbs. My wounds. They healed. They healed, Sora marveled. Sora marveled, clenching his fists. Clenching his fists. I feel strong. I feel stronger. Stronger. Realization struck. Realization struck. So if I beat enemies, I can level up? Like in a game? He looked around the ruined cityscape. Wondering how many more of those things were lurking nearby. I'd better scout the area so I don't get jumped, he decided. He did a full lap around what he now knew was a floating island. But aside from the monster he'd killed, there were no others in sight. There weren't any other paths either. The island was cut off, surrounded by swirling smoke and the void beyond. There was only one option. Floating stairs. They appeared ahead of him, barely visible through the smoke. An eerie staircase suspended in the air, leading up and away from the island. Floating stairs around Smoke Sky Island. This looks bad, Sora murmured. He knew enough about games and stories to realize what terrain like this meant. In games, places like this are prime monster territory. In a game, I'd just respawn if I fell. But I'm not going to test whether or not this is a game world. Grimacing, he stepped onto the stairs. Each one feeling insubstantial beneath his weight, yet holding firm. He moved carefully, refusing to look down. The climb was nerve-wracking. At last the stairs ended, depositing him at the mouth of a dark hallway. It was narrow. The air thick and heavy. The walls stained and cracked. A chilling silence hung there. So oppressive it felt alive. Sora peered inside, his stomach twisting. This place, it's creepy as hell. He whispered. But there was no turning back now. Nightmarish forms flooding the shelter. Sora's mind reeled. What in the world is happening? The situation had spiraled into chaos. The evacuation trucks were jam-packed with people, their frightened voices blending into a suffocating chorus of panic. Sora stood beside his mother and father, heart pounding as the soldiers yelled for everyone to hurry. It was clear there was no room for more people. Sora could see it, feel the hopeless weight of it pressing down on them. He turned urgently to his parents, his voice shaking but resolute. "This can't hold any more people," he told them firmly. "You two get on the truck first." He pushed his mother and father toward the truck, trying to make sure they got inside. His father, despite the commotion, reached back and grabbed Sora's hand tightly, unwilling to let go. The grip was desperate, a bond forged from blood and years of love, but the people behind them were impatient and frightened, shoving and yelling at his father to let go. "Don't bother with him," one man shouted angrily. "The truck's full, old man. If you're gonna dawdle around, get off yourself." The words stung, but Sora understood. He saw the pleading in his father's eyes, felt the warmth of his palm. And then, making a painful decision in an instant, Sora yanked his hand away. "I'll get on a different truck," he called out as he bolted into the crowd. His mother's voice pierced the noise. "Sora!" she cried, but he didn't turn back. Sora sprinted through the mass of desperate refugees, weaving between bodies, searching for an open truck. Each one he reached was already filled to capacity. The soldiers motioned him away. Fear surged through him. Was he going to be left behind? Was this how it ended? And then, there it was, a truck with just enough space for one more person. He rushed toward it, hope igniting in his chest, and stretched out a hand. A man reached down from the truck bed, gripping his wrist to pull him up. Sora's breath hitched in his throat as their eyes met. The man's face twisted into a cruel smirk. "No way! Eiji Kagawa!" Sora's mind screamed. Out of all people, it had to be him. Eiji Kagawa, The same scum who took pleasure in bullying him at the shelter, the same bastard who stole bread from a crying child. Sora's stomach turned at the sight of that smug face, and before he could react, AG's grip loosened. In one heartless motion, AG pushed Sora off the truck. Sora's world spun as he tumbled backward, hitting the hard ground with a bone-jarring thud. Dust and debris filled the air around him. It's over, Sora thought as he lay there, the coldness of despair seeping in. I don't want to die yet. He curled into himself, trembling as the screams and monstrous roars echoed closer. Tears pricked his eyes as he begged for help, for someone, anyone, to pull him up, to save him from this nightmare. And then he saw it, a shadow. A tall, imposing figure stood just beyond the swirling dust, his form faintly glowing. Recognition struck like lightning. The man from my dreams. Sora's heart pounded. He recalled the haunting words from those strange visions. I shall be waiting for you, at the edge of the abyss. Was that a dream just now? Sora murmured weakly. Where the hell am I? The monstrous things advanced toward him, their grotesque forms now visible in the smoky haze. Their massive, twisted bodies radiated an aura of death, and they moved with a terrifying hunger. Sora forced himself to his feet and ran, panic driving him forward. He called out for his mother and father, but his voice was lost in the chaos. He was alone. Am I dead already? Is this hell? His mind raced, every step heavy with dread. One of the monsters hurled something huge in his direction, a shattered piece of debris or a corpse he couldn't tell. He dodged by instinct, heart pounding as the thing crashed behind him. Damn monster! Why won't you stop coming after me? He cursed, his voice breaking. Fear threatened to consume him, but so did rage. One of the creatures closed in, its skin mottled and diseased, wielding a massive, rusted axe. Sora darted aside, grabbing whatever he could to defend himself. The monster swung its weapon down, the force of it cracking the earth. Driven by sheer survival, Sora struck back, over and over, until finally the creature fell. Blood splattered the ground as its grotesque body collapsed. Panting, Sora stepped closer, surveying the thing's corpse. Up close, it looked like something out of a horror game, muscles bulging, its face a grotesque parody of humanity. A strange black text shimmered on its chest. A rank? Sora muttered, frowning. Is this like some kind of game? And then it happened. A dark mist began to rise from the monster's body. It swirled in the air and then, as though obeying some unseen command, shot into Sora's body. He gasped, doubling over as warmth spread through him. His wounds closed, and an odd sense of strength filled his limbs. My wounds. They healed, Sora marveled, clenching his fists. I feel stronger. Realization struck. So if I beat enemies, I can level up? Like in a game? He looked around the ruined cityscape, wondering how many more of those things were lurking nearby. I'd better scout the area so I don't get jumped, he decided. He did a full lap around what he now knew was a floating island, but aside from the monster he'd killed, there were no others in sight. There weren't any other paths either. The island was cut off, surrounded by swirling smoke and the void beyond. There was only one option: floating stairs. They appeared ahead of him, barely visible through the smoke, an eerie staircase suspended in the air, leading up and away from the island. Floating stairs around Smoke Sky Island. This looks bad, Sora murmured. He knew enough about games and stories to realize what terrain like this meant. In games, places like this are prime monster territory. In a game, I'd just respawn if I fell. But I'm not going to test whether or not this is a game world. Grimacing, he stepped onto the stairs, each one feeling insubstantial beneath his weight, yet holding firm. He moved carefully, refusing to look down. The climb was nerve-wracking. At last, the stairs ended, depositing him at the mouth of a dark hallway. It was narrow, the air thick and heavy, the walls stained and cracked. A chilling silence hung there, so oppressive it felt alive. Sora peered inside, his stomach twisting. This place, it's creepy as hell, he whispered, but there was no turning back now. Sora stood at the entrance of the dimly lit hallway, staring at the strange, otherworldly characters engraved into the stone walls. Their shapes were unfamiliar, something he had never seen before in any language or script. Yet somehow, without any conscious effort, their meaning seeped effortlessly into his mind as though his brain were being rewired to understand them. The characters belonged to their bearers. By acquiring all of them, one shall earn the right to leave the abyss. His breath caught for a moment as the realization dawned on him. So this is the abyss, Sora murmured to himself, his voice echoing faintly against the cold walls. His pulse quickened, not out of fear this time, but with a sense of strange, grim purpose. If I have to collect all the fragments to get out of here, then so be it. The thought of having a clear objective, however perilous, was oddly comforting in a place where everything else was alien and hostile. He clenched his fist and exhaled slowly. All right then, I'm fully motivated now. Thinking back with a cooler head, Sora realized the monster he had encountered earlier, the one that had relentlessly chased him with a hammer axe, hadn't been as strong as it had felt in that moment of panic. It was doable. He could survive here, and if he was careful and strategic, he could get out. The first layer of the abyss had spanned an area of 900 square meters. He remembered the monster's corpse, how the black, ink-like number 1 had been carved into its chest. As he progressed further, he noticed a pattern. The second layer had doubled in size, stretching to 1,800 square meters. Among the creatures lurking there, one bore a 2 etched onto its body. When he reached the third layer, the area again doubled to 3,600 square meters. There, amidst the swarm, one of the 4 monsters he encountered carried a 3. The pattern became clear. These fragments, these numbered symbols carved onto monsters' bodies, were the keys to ascending through the abyss. The higher the number, the stronger and more dangerous the monster became. And what unsettled him more than the monsters themselves was how these numbered keys were growing increasingly scarce. The size of each layer kept doubling, the number of enemies multiplying, and yet the fragments seemed to vanish deeper into the chaos, becoming harder and harder to locate. What's worse, as Sora ascended higher, the monsters mutated, evolved, and diversified. No longer were they the same crude beasts with hammer axes. By the time he reached the 12th floor, he encountered monsters he recognized from the night of the attack. The very same abominations that had stormed the shelter, tearing apart everything in their path. But now, they were nothing to him. The Sora who had run in terror that day was gone. By then, his senses had begun to numb from constant battle. There were so many creatures now that counting them seemed ridiculous. But when he stepped onto the 30th floor, a staggering truth awaited him. The number of monsters there had reached 500 million. The scale was beyond human comprehension. Finding the key among them was like searching for a single needle in an endless, blood-soaked haystack. Some of these key-bearing monsters were hidden deep within narrow caves and labyrinthine passages. Others were fiercely protected by organized groups of monsters, forming defensive packs around them. What truly gnawed at Sora's patience wasn't the danger anymore. It was the sheer time it took. Hours, days, weeks. Time itself had lost meaning within the abyss, but the process of hunting down each key-bearing monster, one after another, felt infinite. But no matter how exhausted his body felt, no matter how thick the blood caked on his clothes, or how deep his wounds had been, he never stopped moving forward. And so it went on. When Sora finally reached the 42nd layer, a new reality awaited him. The monstrous horde numbered an unfathomable 2,199,023,255,552. The figures were absurd, an impossible number for any sane person to process. Yet Sora no longer flinched at such things. His appearance had changed so drastically from when he had first fallen into this hellscape that he barely recognized himself. His clothes, once plain, were now torn and soaked in blackened blood. His hair, wild and matted, clung to his face in clumps. His eyes, once wide with terror, now gleamed with cold, detached focus. "This is the shit," he muttered darkly to himself, a hollow, mirthless grin playing on his lips. What year is it now? The question was rhetorical. Time had no place here. It was meaningless. Here, there was only death and massacre. The death of monsters, and the massacre carried out by his own bloodied hands. "How many monsters does this make it?" he asked aloud, though no one could hear him but the endless abyss. "Oh well, I'll cut it up first." Despite the weight of fatigue in his bones, Sora moved with practiced ease, his blade cleaving through one monster after another. It wasn't a battle anymore. It was routine, instinct, an endless cycle of kill or be killed. And now, not even the strongest monsters lasted more than a single blow. No matter how menacing they looked, no matter how confident they were in their power, Sora's strikes ended them in an instant. To him, power itself had lost meaning. It didn't matter how strong a monster claimed to be, against him, all died the same. "Isn't it about time? I found the key?" Sora grumbled under his breath, his frustration mounting. The monotony of endless carnage gnawed at him more than the monster's attacks ever could. He moved forward, scanning the horde, cutting down anything in his way. "What? An entrance? Are you the key?" he called out to a hulking figure ahead, stepping into what appeared to be a gateway of sorts. But it didn't matter who or what stood before him. No matter how strong it claimed to be, it would meet the same end. "Come out already," Sora growled. "I've had enough of this." His voice, laced with rage and weariness, echoed through the 42nd layer of the abyss. And so, with each step forward, the lone survivor continued his journey through the endless hell, determined to claim the final fragment, or lose himself to the abyss forever. In the year 2020, without warning or explanation, 20 enormous towers abruptly manifested across the world. They loomed impossibly tall, their summits disappearing into the clouds, constructed from alien materials no one could comprehend. Before humanity even had the chance to process what had happened, the unthinkable followed. From within these towers, terrifying monsters poured out in endless, merciless waves, their bloodlust unchecked. Humanity, caught entirely off guard, suffered devastating losses. Cities burned, streets became rivers of blood, and entire nations fell in a matter of days. That catastrophic day, the bloodiest in recorded history, was forever remembered as Judgment Day. But amid the overwhelming despair, a glimmer of hope surfaced. A handful of survivors awakened to strange, unfathomable powers, their bodies and minds altered by a mysterious phenomenon referred to simply as the system. Those who awakened were granted overwhelming strength and unique abilities, powers that allowed them to stand against the monstrous tide. Society, battered and near collapse, slowly began to rebuild itself around these survivors. The awakened formed groups known as hunter guilds, dedicated to combating the monstrous threat and reclaiming what was lost. Human civilization, though scarred, found a way to endure. Meanwhile, deep within the abyss, Sora continued his desperate, unending battle for survival. Bloodied and relentless, he suddenly caught sight of something unusual. A flicker of light ahead. His instincts screamed at him, and his narrowed eyes caught sight of a figure moving away from him. "Wait up!" Sora called out, his voice rough with exhaustion and determination. "Show me your stats!" But before he could get any closer, the figure acted swiftly, raising a shimmering parchment, an advanced transfer scroll. Sora's mind reeled. It was an incredibly rare artifact, capable of teleporting a person out of even the most dangerous zones. He barely had time to process it, when one of the monsters nearby bellowed in unmistakable, coherent speech. "Stop him! Don't let that summon go through!" Sora froze. Human speech? His heart skipped a beat. "Don't tell me..." From within the column of light created by the teleportation scroll, a hand began to extend outward, slender, human, and unmistakably alive. The glowing portal shimmered violently around it. Sora's eyes widened. "Is that... an exit?" Without a second thought, he lunged forward, his face almost plunging into the swirling light. What he saw confirmed it. Beyond that portal was the outside world. Blue skies, grass, air untouched by the stench of death. "There's actually an exit," he whispered in disbelief. But before he could throw himself through it, a crimson warning screen materialized before him. Warning. Abyssal summoning is unable to transfer more than 2 living beings. The words made Sora's blood boil. He clenched his teeth. "I won't let anyone get in my way." Meanwhile, on Earth, just outside one of the restored cities, a young girl was running desperately through the dense forest, the undergrowth whipping at her legs and branches clawing at her hair. Yu Sonozaki darted between trees, her breathing ragged, fear pounding in her chest. "I have to shake them off quickly," she thought, heart racing. But fate was cruel. Her foot snagged in a cluster of twisted roots, and with a sharp gasp, she tumbled to the ground, pain jolting through her ankle. She cursed under her breath. "This is bad. What a pain." Before she could recover, 2 figures emerged from the shadows. Aika and Choji Shido, both wearing the cold, confident smirks of seasoned hunters, closed in. "A level 60 scroll isn't something a level 19 rookie like you can handle," Aika sneered, her voice laced with venom. "Just hand over the advanced transfer scroll," Choji growled. "Hand it over now or I won't show any mercy." Aika cast a quick glance at him. "Don't kill her!" Sonozaki's eyes narrowed. Her voice trembled with anger, not fear. "Hunter-on-hunter combat is forbidden. You're breaking the rules." A third figure stepped into view. Shosei Toshida, his aura radiating cold arrogance. "Rules!" he scoffed, a wicked grin curling his lips. "I make the rules here. Give us the scroll, and I might let you keep all your limbs intact." But Sonozaki wasn't trembling anymore. Her fingers tightened around something hidden behind her back. Her gaze sharpened. "You wouldn't want to corner me any further if I were you." Aika's expression shifted to alarm. "This is bad. She's going to use a forced summon. Stop her now." "Bitch, hand over the scroll," Toshida barked, raising his hand, a surge of energy gathering in his palm. But it was too late. A complex teleportation circle flared to life beneath Sonozaki's feet, its arcane light washing over the clearing. "If I'm going to die anyway," Sonozaki hissed, voice defiant, I'll drag you all down with me. Choji's face went pale. It's a forced summon. Aika's voice cracked with panic. No one can control an advanced monster that's dragged in like this. We're done for. Stop her now! But Sonozaki had already begun chanting the final words, her resolve fierce. The summoning magic completed, and the surrounding air grew heavy with violent, oppressive power. Toshida took a step back, eyes wide. What overwhelming energy! This isn't looking good for us! Thunder cracked through the sky, lightning slashing jagged lines of light across the night. The clearing trembled as something monstrous tore through the summoned portal. The ground split apart, and a beast began to materialize. The first thing visible were its snarling 3 canine heads, unmistakably Cerberus, a level 3 advanced monster. That's it? Aika scoffed, relief in her voice. For all that drama, she summoned a Cerberus? That's what she risked her life for? What a joke. But then, amidst their moment of stupidity and mockery, the true summoned figure stepped through. A humanoid figure, tall and bloodstained, eyes gleaming like cold blades. It was Sora. The moment his feet touched the ground, a crooked grin spread across his face. I made it out, he murmured, then threw his head back and laughed, a sound that was half mad with relief and triumph. I finally escaped that place. Ha 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 ha. The clearing fell deathly silent, the other hunters frozen in place. The monster they should have feared most wasn't the Cerberus. It was the man who had crawled out of the abyss. The eerie, guttural laughter echoed through the air, thick with the smell of blood and smoke. Toshida's entire body tensed, a cold sweat breaking out along his back as he clenched his fists in terror. Just hearing that laughter. My body won't move. This pressure. What is this? Who the hell is that? In front of them stood a man, tall, weathered, scarred beyond recognition, yet radiating an aura so dense it felt like the air itself was suffocating them. Sora's gaze locked onto Aika, his rough hands gripping her shoulders with alarming ease. His eyes scanned her face, bewildered yet desperate for an answer. Is this the Earth? Sora asked, his voice hoarse as if it hadn't been used in years. Aika, confused yet instinctively intimidated, managed a stiff nod. Of course it is. For a moment, the tension in Sora's face eased, and a weak, almost incredulous smile appeared on his lips. Finally, I finally returned, he breathed out, his eyes glimmering in disbelief. He looked around, noticing the strange outfits the hunters wore, armed and clad in combat gear. With a raised brow and the hint of a laugh, he added, What are you guys, cosplaying or something? Toshida, leader of the Tiger's Roar Guild squad, gritted his teeth in anger. His pride flared at the mocking tone. Don't you dare underestimate the Tiger's Roar Guild, you hobo bastard, he snarled. He barked out an order to his comrades. Kill him. But as soon as they made a move, it happened. In the blink of an eye, Sora appeared before Toshida, his hand wrapping tightly around the man's neck, lifting him effortlessly off the ground. Toshida's eyes bulged as he gasped for breath. Show me your number, Sora growled, his grip tightening. Toshida coughed, struggling against the monstrous strength. Number? What the hell? Are you talking about? Gah! With a roar filled with frustration and something ancient, Sora hurled him aside like discarded trash. Toshida hit the ground hard, dazed and trembling. Get lost, Sora commanded, his voice like thunder. Fear overtook them. One after another, Toshida, Aika, and Choji turned tail and ran for their lives, shouting threats over their shoulders. We'll remember this, bastard! You'll pay for this! From the sidelines, Yu Sonozaki watched the scene unfold in awe and confusion. Such power. And those terrible scars. Just who is he, she thought. He couldn't possibly be a monster summoned from the abyss by my scroll. Could he? Sora turned towards her. How many years has it been since the towers appeared? He asked, his voice rough and detached. Yu blinked, startled by the question. Huh? It's been 5 years. A dark shadow passed over Sora's face. 5 years, he murmured. He looked down at his tattered clothes and back at the devastated landscape. Is this really the Earth? And what's this about a scroll? Why the hell are you dressed like that? Yu sighed, gathering herself. Ever since the towers appeared, a system manifested itself to humans. A mysterious power we didn't understand. After Judgment Day, 5 years ago, monsters poured out, and a third of every city fell to ruin. The world's completely changed. A pang of grief and anger twisted in Sora's gut. Has the world truly changed so much in just 5 years, while I was trapped in that endless abyss? Yu continued. S-City was hit by the 7th large-scale invasion. I barely managed to flee from there. S-City. That's where I was born, Sora whispered, his chest tightening. Yu hesitated, but answered, "It's already completely destroyed. But the Hunter Guild sent strong people there. They might still be able to push the monsters back." Sora clenched his fists. "How do I get to S City from here?" "Just go over there." Yu pointed to a path beyond the trees, toward the ruined horizon. Sora nodded silently, his mind set. Without another word, he took off in that direction. Yu watched his retreating figure, a strange feeling blooming in her chest. He's going alone? What kind of man is this? I need to tell my sister about this. Meanwhile, far from the scene, Toshida seethed. That bastard! But before he could finish his curse, a figure emerged from the shadows. Clad entirely in a dark cloth, only a faint glimmer of eyes visible beneath the hood. The air grew dense, suffocating, as the stranger's overwhelming presence pressed down upon them. "I'll give you 3 seconds," the figure spoke coldly. "Tell me where he is." Choji's face twisted. "You've got to be kidding me. What now?" Time was up. A flash of murderous energy exploded outwards. In the next instant, Choji, Aika, and Toshida's bodies were reduced to ash, not a single trace left behind. At the Tiger's Roar Guild headquarters, a young woman standing at the observation monitors paled as the signals of the 4 vanished. "There's no sign of life from Master Toshida's party of 4, she reported shakily, "and the whereabouts of Sonozaki and the scroll remain unknown." In the guild's command tower, Richt Mukai, the notorious storm priest, scowled, slamming his staff against the floor. "What trash!" he spat. "The fools you recommended couldn't even handle one level 29 summoner? Pathetic!" He glared at the trembling staffer. Their signals vanished at the same time. "Find out who did it." Yes, sir." "And capture Sonozaki," Mukai continued, his voice cold as ice. "I want to hear everything from her own mouth." "Understood." Mukai's eyes narrowed, bloodlust radiating from his form. "I'll personally slaughter anyone who lays a hand on my men." Just then, a powerful gust of wind swept through the area. A figure streaked past Mukai with such speed that his robe fluttered. Mukai stiffened, sniffing the thick scent that lingered in the air. "This incredible stench of blood," he murmured. "Who was that? Isn't there a fallen zone in that direction?" His expression darkened. "This invasion, it's on a whole other scale. No doubt about it. Big forces are moving in secret. Sound the emergency alarm. All search parties fall back immediately." Somewhere in the depths of S City's fallen zone, now a wasteland overrun with monsters and destruction, Sora walked alone, the ruined remains of buildings and corpses under his feet. He paused, gazing over the devastation. "In the 5 years I was trapped in the abyss," he muttered to himself, his voice distant. "This place has turned into hell." He touched the deep scars along his arms and face. "But in that abyss, the weak man I once was died. I became strong, my senses numbed, my humanity stripped away. I nearly became a beast myself. I ate flesh to survive." He clenched his fists. "But the thought of my family, dad, mom, brother, it kept me going." Sora's gaze hardened as he stared down a pack of monsters scuttling in the distance. "The monsters I once feared, now they're nothing but small fries to me." And so, the man who returned from the abyss, marked by the horrors he'd endured, began his march toward S City to reclaim what was lost. Once a lively, bustling metropolis, S City now lay in utter ruin, reduced to nothing more than a vast, silent wasteland. The streets that used to echo with the chatter of children, the hum of cars, and the warmth of people going about their daily lives were now barren. Buildings stood as hollowed-out husks, shredded and battered like the remnants left behind by some apocalyptic earthquake. Every window shattered, every street cracked, every corner swallowed by dust and decay. But curiously, for all the desolation, there was no trace of fresh blood or fallen bodies, no monsters rampaging in sight. Ever since the authorities had evacuated the area during the last large-scale invasion, it had been declared a forbidden zone. Nobody was supposed to be alive here anymore. Through these ghostly streets, a lone figure moved with purpose. Sora, his once familiar face now hardened by years of torment in the abyss, made his way toward a broken structure, the skeletal remains of what was once his home. He reached out and pushed against the splintered door. The hinges groaned under the pressure as the door creaked open, revealing a room left in ruins. Dust hung heavy in the air, and every inch of space was cracked and crumbling. Sora stood silently, taking it all in. "I knew it would be empty," he murmured to himself, his voice raw with restrained emotion. "But I came anyway. After all, this place, it's full of memories." He stepped inside, his eyes darting to the spots where, years ago, he and his family would gather. The walls that once displayed family pictures were now bare and scorched, and yet amidst the wreckage, something on the table caught his eye. There, sitting beneath a thin film of dust, was a letter. The paper yellowed with time, but carefully placed. He reached for it, his trembling fingers brushing away the dirt. Unfolding it, he began to read. Dad's letter. Dear Sora, everybody says you're dead, but your mom and I refuse to believe it. We grabbed your things and set them up exactly like in your old room. We're sure you're going to come back. Sora's throat tightened. He felt the sting of tears prick at his eyes. His gaze moved to the small pile of clothes laid neatly to the side. His parents had placed his favorite outfits, one set for each size, from small to large, as though they were waiting for every version of him to come home. They had thought of everything. In the drawer was a map to Shelter 6, carefully tucked away, along with a note written in his mother's delicate handwriting, urging him to promise that once he read it, he would come find them. They would be waiting, no matter how long it took. Overwhelmed, Sora clutched a worn, faded family photograph in his hand. His body shook as he cried harder than he had in years, the sobs tearing through him like sharp blades. How strong am I now? He whispered to himself, voice heavy with sorrow and determination. He picked up a knife, its blade dull but sufficient for what he intended. Holding a lock of his long, unkempt hair, he sliced it away, hacking off the strands in uneven clumps until his face was bare and fierce once more. The mirror reflected not a boy who had left 5 years ago, but a warrior forged by unimaginable pain. If I'm tough enough to end this apocalypse, maybe I can reclaim the days I lost. Without another word, he stuffed the map into his pocket. The marked route pointed east to Shelter 6. He stepped out of the shattered house, the ground crunching underfoot. The roads are a wreck, but blazing my own trail will be faster. Determined, he began clearing obstacles from his path, crumbling walls, fallen street signs, and rusted cars. His every movement was sharp, his strength unnervingly precise, slicing through debris like paper. Further ahead, 2 weary guards stood on a makeshift post. You hear that? One of them asked, turning his head. You're probably drunk, the other replied with a snort. Guard duty's boring enough without you imagining things. But a loud, unnatural boom echoed through the air, followed by flashes of lightning streaking across the dull gray sky. Hey, did you see that just now? The first guard muttered, his eyes wide. I got it on the camera, the other said, peering at the fuzzy footage. Is that a person? Somewhere beyond them, Sora was roaring high in the air, a primal, defiant scream against a world that had abandoned him. In a nearby alley, a terrified young girl cowered against a wall, her face streaked with dirt, tears glistening in her wide eyes. Don't come any closer, she begged, voice cracking. Please, forgive me. I only came here looking for food. A group of sneering thugs loomed over her, vile remnants of humanity that had turned to preying on the weak in the lawless wasteland. Well, would you look at that? One of them slurred, his eyes gleaming. A survivor. Out here, all alone. Got quite the figure, too. Been a while since we've seen a woman. He licked his lips, tongue twisting grotesquely. Don't worry, we're good guys. We'll take good care of you. Please. No, the girl whimpered, backing away. Don't be scared, another laughed, unsheathing a knife. I'll be gentle. Hell, it'd be a shame not to enjoy a body like yours. Suddenly a voice broke through the darkness. Some things never change, you pieces of trash. The bullies snapped around. Who's there? You're not getting off easy if you butt in. Get him, one ordered. Die, brat. They rushed towards Sora, blades flashing, but he didn't flinch. In a blur, he moved, slicing through them with ease, their bodies dropping one by one like rag dolls. Blood darkened the cracked asphalt. Only one remained, eyes wide in horror. Who the hell are you? I'm part of the Tiger's Roar Guild. Try laying a hand on me and the guild won't let it slide. Sora narrowed his eyes as recognition struck him. You're Eiji Kagawa. The man paled. What? No. Don't tell me, is that you, Mukujima? No way. Stay back. How the hell are you still alive? Sora laughed darkly. That's right. He grabbed Eiji by the neck, lifting him effortlessly into the air. The man clawed at his hand, legs kicking. I crawled my way up from the pits of hell. All because of you. Sora's voice was a low, venomous snarl. His eyes blazed with fury, the rage of 5 years finally unleashed. And now it's your turn to go there. The voices in his head, the remnants of the abyss, whispered to him, urging him onward. Kill him. Kill him. You are the strongest now. Bend everything to your will. Sora clenched his fist tighter. This is my power now. And the wasteland watched in silence. Sora stood in the wreckage of the desolate street, his breathing heavy, eyes locked on the crumpled form of Eiji Kagawa before him. Every memory of torment, humiliation, and agony this man had inflicted on him surged through his mind like a tidal wave. The taunts, the blows, the way his dignity had been stripped away, the helplessness of those years, all of it resurfaced, raw and vivid. "All you've ever done is torment my past itself," Sora growled through gritted teeth, his voice low and heavy with emotion. "The pain, the humiliation, the helplessness, and today, I'm giving it all back." Eiji Kagawa's face twisted in fear as he struggled to breathe, Sora's grip on his throat leaving him gasping and wheezing. His mind raced back to the countless times he had bullied Sora, how crushing someone's dignity to pieces had felt so exhilarating to him then. And now, those roles had reversed. The helplessness that once belonged to Sora was now his own. Sora's grip loosened, and he let Kagawa fall to the ground. The man collapsed, coughing violently, desperately trying to fill his lungs with air as he sprawled on the cracked concrete. Sora stood over him, a storm of conflicting emotions brewing inside him. A part of him craved revenge, to end this wretched man's life as he had once tried to end Sora's. But another part of him, the part clinging to what little humanity remained, held him back. "No," Sora muttered, clenching his fists at his sides. "I can't become the same as him." He looked down at the pitiful man at his feet. But if scum like him keep breathing, more people will suffer, more lives will be destroyed. Kagawa lifted his bruised, tear-streaked face. What are you planning to do?" Sora's eyes hardened. "For the 2 years you made my life at school a living hell. 1 punch. For terrorizing the weak. 1 punch. And for trying to kill me by pushing me off that truck. 2 punches. 4 hits, and we'll call it even." Kagawa began to tremble, the color draining from his face. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Please, forgive me. If you punch me now with the strength you have, I'll probably die from the first hit." Tears streamed down his face as he begged for mercy, his words barely audible through his sobs. But Sora's expression remained cold, his voice calm and resolute. "Don't worry, I'll go easy on you." Without another word, Sora drove his fist into Kagawa's face. The sickening sound of bone cracking filled the air. The first punch sent him reeling, blood spurting from his nose and mouth. Before he could react, the second blow landed, a crushing hit to his abdomen that left him coughing up blood and writhing in pain. Get up!" Sora commanded. Kagawa groaned, barely able to lift his head, his limbs trembling violently. Just kill me already." But Sora showed no mercy. He raised his foot and stomped down on Kagawa's battered body, a savage, brutal blow. Kagawa lay there, a bloody, disheveled mess, his eyes swollen shut, limbs mangled, and face unrecognizable. By the time it was over, both his eyes were destroyed, his 4 limbs completely amputated. The once proud bully of his past had been reduced to a blind, helpless husk. Sora turned to the remaining bullies, their faces pale with horror. "Take him to the hospital," he ordered flatly. They quickly scrambled forward, terror gripping their hearts. "Oh, okay. And don't ever show your faces in front of me again," Sora added, his voice like ice. Without waiting for a response, he crouched and launched himself high into the sky, vanishing into the distance. "The cleanup's done," he murmured to himself, the wind whipping past him as he soared. "Let's move on. We're heading home." City Buffer Zone. At the buffer zone's defensive wall, a group of soldiers stood at their posts, bored and restless. "I'd kill to be on wall watch duty," one of them muttered. "Seriously," another agreed. "At least out here, we don't have to actually fight the monsters." A third soldier scoffed. "Don't be a wimp. If a monster shows up, you better not freak out and fall off the wall." Their idle chatter was interrupted by the firm voice of First Lieutenant Tanji Kagura, the buffer zone's commander. "Stay sharp. There's no telling when one might appear." Private Shoki Matsura, gripping his weapon, sighed. "But this is the buffer zone. Monsters from Area X hardly ever show up here. As long as we stay alert." Before he could finish his sentence, a deafening screech split the air. A monstrous creature, a child of the Kraken shell type, appeared on the horizon, its grotesque form writhing toward them. The soldiers' faces blanched with terror. "Commander! Monster sighting!" one of them shouted. "Don't lose your cool!" Kagura barked. "Stay in formation!" But the monster's aura was suffocating, its level far beyond what their weapons could handle. "Damn it! Its level is so high, our weapons won't work!" a soldier yelled, his voice cracking with fear. "Fire!" the commander ordered. The soldiers unleashed a barrage of gunfire and explosive rounds. "Here it comes!" they shouted as the creature advanced. "Everyone, spread out!" Kagura commanded, urgency in his every word. Explosions rocked the ground, smoke filled the air, and the monstrous child's shriek pierced their ears. Amid the chaos, a soldier named Shun roared, Damn you, you monstrous octopus! I'm gonna take you down! They fought with everything they had, desperation fueling their attacks. But no matter how fiercely they fought, their weapons left barely a scratch. And then, suddenly, the monster stopped. Its monstrous tentacled body recoiled, trembling. What? Is it scared of something? One of the soldiers gasped. I don't know what it's afraid of, another said, voice shaking. But this is our chance. Kill it. They fired again, but even their combined firepower did nothing. Impossible! Someone cried out. Panic spread like wildfire. Soldiers fell to their knees in fear, some collapsing entirely as despair gripped them. Then the commander's sharp eyes caught sight of a figure in the distance, a figure descending from the sky like a storm given form. No way, Kagura muttered. That's... The monster's entire body cowered, its grotesque form quivering in absolute terror. That's him, the commander realized, his heart pounding. That's the one the monster's scared of. Sora. The battlefield still smoldered in the aftermath of the monster's failed attack. Amid the scattered soldiers, Commander Tanji Kagura stood frozen, his eyes wide as he processed what he had just witnessed. A single man, an unknown figure, had brought down a monster that had survived a full-scale military explosion. And not with a drawn-out fight, but with one effortless, devastating strike. Commander Kagura's mind raced. A monster that survived that blast, taken down in one hit. There aren't many with that kind of power. S-rank destructive force. Who the hell is this guy? I've never seen him before. I need to find out no matter what. Determined, the commander activated a special skill, known as Inspect, an ability that allowed the user to view detailed information about a target. The closer in strength the user was to the target, the more precise the information would be. But something unexpected happened. A warning screen appeared before Kagura's eyes. Show respect to this person. And that was it. Nothing else. The commander gritted his teeth. No stats, no level, no classification, nothing. The data was sealed to him. The information was completely out of his reach, which meant only one thing: the man's power far outstripped his own. Before he could reflect on this unsettling discovery any further, darkness closed in, and he collapsed to the ground unconscious. Lieutenant? One of the soldiers shouted in panic. Lieutenant, what happened? He's down! Somebody call a medic! As the squad scrambled around their fallen commander, Sora, the man they had all just witnessed performing the impossible, approached calmly, his expression unreadable. He peered at the group of shaken soldiers. Hey! Sora called out, his voice steady but carrying an edge of command. One of the soldiers turned towards him quickly. Yes, sir? The soldier stammered. There's something I need to ask you, Sora said, his gaze sharp. Of course, the soldier replied, trying to hide his fear. How far is Evacuation Shelter 6 from here? Sora asked. The soldier hesitated, then answered, It's about 50 kilometers to the north, sir. But you'd have to go through Area X to get there. Area X? Sora raised a brow, unfamiliar with the term. The soldier swallowed hard. Yes, it's where they're holding back the monster rush. The military is concentrating the monsters there to minimize damage elsewhere. There's a lot of hunters and soldiers fighting on the front lines to keep them contained. As the soldier spoke, Sora's eyes drifted to the ground where several soldiers were collecting shimmering items that glimmered faintly under the battered sky. Monster drops, tangible loot gained from defeating beasts in the real world. Sora smirked to himself. Real drops, huh? It really is like a game. Turning his attention back to the soldier, Sora asked, That monster just now, how strong was it to you guys? The soldier answered immediately. It was a level 45. That's quite a tough opponent for us. So, even something like that already gives you trouble, Sora noted. How many monsters above level 45 are there in this monster rush you're holding back? Probably no more than 100, the soldier admitted. If there were plenty of monsters like that one, humanity would have gone extinct long ago. Sora nodded. Got it. Thanks. As he began to turn away, the soldier called after him, desperation in his voice. Wait, this might be an unreasonable request, but please go to Area X. If a strong hunter like you is there, you could save countless lives. Sora paused for a moment, glancing back over his shoulder. The shortest route to Shelter 6 is through Area X, right? Yes, sir, the soldier confirmed. All right then, Sora said casually. The soldier's eyes widened. Then, you'll go? Yeah, Sora replied with a shrug. While I'm passing through Area X, I'll take down any monsters unfortunate enough to cross my path. Back at the Fort Line Rear military camp, the unconscious lieutenant finally stirred. His eyelids fluttered open as one of his men, who had been kneeling at his side, let out a relieved breath. You're awake, sir, the soldier said gratefully. How long was I out? Commander Kagura asked, his voice hoarse. About 10 minutes, sir, the soldier reported, holding out a vial. We used some recovery items dropped by the monsters. They worked right away. The commander sat up, rubbing his head. What about that man? The one who saved us? He, went to the north, the soldier replied. Kagura's eyes narrowed. North, huh? Hold on. Wait, what did you just say? He said he was returning to evacuation shelter 6. And he's going through Area X? The commander barked. Yes, sir. It looked like he didn't care at all. Kagura's pulse quickened. The implications hit him hard. He went without hesitation, without knowing. Contact the Central Command Center immediately, he ordered. The soldier blinked in confusion. The Central Command Center, sir? There's about 10 minutes left before the scheduled time, Kagura muttered to himself. I should be able to make it. But sir, I already sent a message through the emergency radio. Why contact Central directly? Because this operation is different from the previous ones, Kagura said grimly. This information is highly classified. That's why you weren't informed. Area X isn't just the region where we're holding back the monsters. It's a bombing zone. Meanwhile, at the Central Command headquarters, an emergency call came through. An urgent call has come in, a communications officer informed. Put them through, commanded Central Commander Renji Kumagaya. Yes, sir, the officer responded, connecting the line. This is communication code BW3422, came the voice of Lieutenant Kagura over the line. Lieutenant Kagura reporting in, I have a critical report. Just now, a mysterious hunter left for the bombing zone. He's unaware of the operation. Commander Renji's voice was icy. So you're contacting us to report your incompetence? No, sir, Kagura replied quickly. I believe an emergency broadcast to inform him of the incoming bombing is in order. He's strong, incredibly strong. We can't afford to lose a man like him just like this. A tense silence filled the command center as the weight of Kagura's words hung in the air. Inside the Central Command Center, tension lingered in the air as Lieutenant Kagura delivered his urgent report. The large monitor flickered softly in the dimly lit room, and the hum of control panels blended with the anxious shuffling of soldiers at their stations. Commander Renji Kumagaya sat at the head of the command center, his face impassive, though his sharp eyes glinted with scrutiny. So, Commander Renji began, his voice low and measured, you say this man is a strong hunter? What's his level? Lieutenant Kagura stiffened under the scrutiny. I don't know, sir. A heavy silence followed. Commander Renji raised an eyebrow, his expression twisted somewhere between disbelief and annoyance. Huh. A hunter whose level is unknown wandered into the bombing zone without following procedure, and now you want me to issue an emergency broadcast for him? He asked, a mocking edge creeping into his tone. Before Kagura could respond, one of the female operators nearby spoke up quietly, a trace of fatalism in her voice. He'll probably be dead before the message even goes out. At this, Commander Renji let out a dry chuckle. Cuckoo, he scoffed, leaning back in his chair, his lips curling into a condescending grin. You may not have a brain, but you certainly have a talent for comedy. His eyes flicked back to Kagura, narrowing coldly. Seems they haven't been trained well enough to think on their own yet, though it's not really my place to interfere with my subordinates. The grin widened with cruel amusement. However, he continued in a voice like ice, if I report to the higher-ups that you have obstructed the operation's progress, you'll be the one held accountable for all consequences. The weight of the words was unmistakable, and the threat hung heavy in the air. Meanwhile, watching the exchange through another channel was Western Commander Mi Tonosaki. Her expression hardened as she observed Commander Renji's arrogant disregard. Is he really going to drag his own men down when we're facing such a powerful enemy? She muttered to herself, irritation brimming in her voice. What an idiot! And yet, here's Kagura, the very man he trained so carefully, risking everything to save a total stranger. Just how powerful is this guy for Kagura to be willing to gamble the entire operation for him? Her eyes narrowed as she addressed the lieutenant directly through the comms. Lieutenant Kagura, she called out sharply, her voice cutting through the room like a blade. I trust you have no intention of interfering with our plans, but if you can't give me a convincing reason right now, I will personally see to it that you stand before a military tribunal for insubordination. Kagura felt a chill run down his spine, beads of cold sweat gathering at his temples. This was no idle threat. Western Commander Tonosaki wasn't known for empty words. Would that be satisfactory for you, Major General Kumagaya? Commander Tonosaki added, with a sharp glance toward Renji. Renji gave a tisk of annoyance. Chak! Lieutenant Kagura, well, he demanded, give us a reason we can accept. Taking a steadying breath, Kagura spoke. Yes, sir. That man, he slew a level 45 baby kraken in a single strike. The revelation caused the entire room to fall into stunned silence. What? Commander Tonosaki blurted out. Then, That would mean he's stronger than an A-rank hunter. Could it be an S-rank hunter from the military? Commander Renji shook his head immediately. Impossible. All S-rank personnel have already been deployed on external missions. There's no confirmed signal or report of any of them in this sector. But then, his brow furrowed. Why don't you know his level? Shouldn't you have been able to see it with your inspect skill? At that, Kagura felt a flush of embarrassment. He swallowed hard. About that, sir? When I used my skill on him, I lost consciousness from the information overload. The inspect skill was completely overwhelmed, and I blacked out immediately. The room fell deathly quiet again. The implications were clear to everyone present. That means he's at least level 100, Kagura added softly. Commander Renji exhaled through his nose, tension flickering in his eyes, though his face remained composed. It's true that strength like this is rare, he conceded, but that still isn't enough to stop the operation. Eastern Commander Nobuo Yuasa, who had remained silent until now, finally spoke up, his calm voice resonating through the comms. I agree, he said firmly. We cannot abandon our military responsibilities for such uncertain individual reasons. Thousands of troops from 4 different corps are involved in this operation. We've allocated enough forces to fully surround the bombing and buffer zones. The original plan is for any scattered monsters to be handled by the soldiers stationed in the garrison areas once the bombardment concludes. His voice hardened. If we make an emergency broadcast now, the monsters will react to the sound and rush en masse toward the source. The buffer zones would collapse in an instant. Tens of thousands of soldiers would lose their lives. Saving one unknown man in exchange for those lives, even if he were an S-rank hunter, is a risk we cannot and will not take. Kagura felt his heart sink. He had expected resistance, but hearing it laid out so coldly and logically left him speechless. Commander Mitonosaki sighed. Then I am rejecting your request, she said decisively. We can't waste the efforts of so many people for the sake of one man. This decision is final. With that, the connection was terminated, the monitor going dark as the communications cut off. The oppressive quiet that followed was broken only by the low hum of the equipment. Kagura stood there, staring at the empty screen in front of him. His soldiers around him exhaled in resignation. Lieutenant, one of them said softly, you've done everything you could. Kagura gave a stiff nod, his voice tight. Yes, you're right. What matters is the bigger picture. But as those words left his mouth, one of the soldiers, Private First Class Shoki Matsura, reached into the lieutenant's pocket and snatched the keys to a nearby military jeep. What the hell are you doing? Get back here this instant. The bombing is about to start, Kagura shouted, alarm flooding his voice. But Matsura didn't stop. He broke into a run, heading straight for the vehicle. There's still 6 minutes before it starts, the young soldier called out as he climbed into the driver's seat, determination blazing in his eyes. The engine roared to life. Private First Class Shoki Matsura, do you want to be court-martialed? Get back here now, Kagura bellowed. But Matsura didn't look back. With a defiant slam of the pedal, the jeep sped off toward the north, its tires kicking up dust in its wake. One of the other soldiers looked to Kagura uncertainly. Lieutenant, should we bring him back? Kagura sighed, the weight of everything pressing down on his shoulders. No, he murmured. Let him go. He's made his decision. I'm sure he knows what he's getting himself into. Inside the speeding jeep, Matsura gripped the steering wheel tightly, his expression resolute. I have to make it in time, he thought to himself. What none of them knew in that moment, neither the commanders at Central Command nor the soldiers at the front, was that the man Matsura risked everything to save would one day become the last brightest hope for all mankind. The soldier gritted his teeth, frustration and anxiety churning in his chest. Damn it, he muttered under his breath, his eyes scanning the desolate terrain. I've lost his trail. He clenched the steering wheel tighter. Where on earth did he go? This path he was speeding down was supposed to be the fastest route through this sector. If even here he couldn't catch sight of the man, did that mean the stranger was moving faster than his military vehicle itself? It was unthinkable, yet the evidence pointed to it. Up ahead loomed Area X, a no-man's land known to be especially treacherous. The soldier hesitated for a brief moment. If I blast the speaker at full volume, there's a chance he'll hear me. But doing that, it'll alert the monsters too. He took a deep breath, steadying his nerves. There was no time for fear. Doesn't matter, he said to himself, flicking the switch on the dashboard. The speakers crackled to life. He raised the microphone to his lips, his voice cracking with desperation and guilt. I'm a disgrace to the army, he began, his words carrying far and wide through the speaker system. Hey, I'm the soldier you helped earlier. This area is about to be bombed. Evacuate immediately, I repeat. Evacuate immediately. His words echoed eerily through the barren, smoke-laden air. Far away, Sora paused, his sharp senses picking up the faint, distorted voice. Bombed, he thought with a start. That explained why no hunters were to be seen anywhere nearby, and why the air carried an oppressive, deadly tension. The monsters scattered through the area weren't much of a problem for him, but the blast heat was another story. I don't know if I can survive that. Best avoid pointless risks. Yet, his gaze hardened. That soldier had risked his life to travel all this way, just to deliver a warning meant for him. I can't let him die here after that. Meanwhile, the soldier sat tensely inside his vehicle, glancing nervously at the dark silhouette starting to emerge in the distance. "Did I reach him?" he whispered, hope flickering within him. However, it wasn't long before he realized the terrible consequence of his broadcast. The monsters were converging on his position. Damn it, I really did attract them. He was about to start the vehicle, his fingers hovering over the ignition switch, when a thought struck him like a blow to the chest. Sora is still out there. He couldn't just leave now. Before he could act, a figure appeared. It was Sora, moving with impossible speed and precision. The soldier's face lit up with relief. "Thank goodness you're alive," he blurted out. Sora didn't waste time. "What do you mean this area is about to be bombed?" he demanded. But there was no time left to explain. The countdown had reached its end. The first of the explosions erupted in a blinding flash of light and a thunderous roar. The very earth trembled under the assault as wave after wave of bombs fell, the car becoming surrounded by ferocious blasts. Smoke and searing heat blanketed everything as shockwaves tore through the area. Far away, in the military command center, a young girl seated at a console turned to Major General Kumagaya. "Major General, the bombing's complete," she reported. Commander Renji's expression was cold and focused. "Use the drones to assess how many monsters we've taken down and where the survivors are headed," he ordered. He glanced at the communications officer. "Phones aren't detecting any signs of life. What's going on out there?" But what they saw on the drone feed made their blood run cold. "The monsters. They're still in the bombing zone," the girl said, her voice trembling. "And the ones at the center of the bombing, they're completely unscathed." Commander Renji's eyes narrowed. "That can't be." Commander Mii Tonosaki leaned in sharply. "What about the drone feed?" "Wait, is that a shield?" the girl gasped. "Did the monsters make it?" Her hands hovered over the console controls as the images flickered. "Wait, hold on," she added, her eyes wide. "Is that a person?" The screen flickered once more, before cutting to static. "The drone's been attacked by a monster," she choked out. "We've lost all communication with it." Commander Mitonosaki swore softly under her breath. "They said this wave of attacks would be different. But what was that back there?" "They know we're scouting with drones," Eastern Commander Nobuo Yuasa said grimly, the weight of the situation sinking in. Without a moment's hesitation, Commander Mii Tonosaki barked, "Evacuate every soldier from the garrison area." "Full retreat," another commander shouted. "Hold the walls." But then the girl spoke again, horror evident in her tone. They're heading for the walls." "Then where are they going?" Tonosaki demanded. "To Area BZZ," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. Commander Mii Tonosaki's face hardened. "But that's where the mysterious hunter went. Send all our remaining drones to BZZ. I want eyes on that place immediately. We need to find out what stopped the monster's advance." Back in the devastation, the soldier inside the car gasped as the roar of the explosions finally faded. "The bombing stopped," he whispered in disbelief. "I'm alive. Haha, I'm alive." But Sora's sharp voice cut through his euphoria like a blade. "It's too early to celebrate. If you're alive, then so are the monsters." His tone was grim. "And they're headed this way. Get down." A dull mechanical buzz drew both their attention upwards. "Is that an army drone?" the soldier stammered, watching as a monstrous form struck it from the sky. Did the monsters attack the drone?" He shook his head in shock. "This has never happened before." Sora's gaze was fixed ahead. "Save your astonishment for later," he snapped. "We're making a run for it." Without another word, the two bolted, racing against death itself as the nightmare unfolded around them. The soldier's voice trembled as he assessed the terrifying reality before him. "These guys, they're the highest level group in this rush," he muttered, disbelief and fear heavy in his tone. "Their leader, he's level 90. His eyes darted over the monstrous forms advancing relentlessly, completely untouched by the earlier bombing. "Not a single scratch from that blast?" A chill ran down his spine as dread settled in. "It's over for us. We're going to die here." Beside him, Sora remained calm but determined, his gaze steady and unyielding. "We're both unharmed," he said firmly, his voice cutting through the chaos. "If we can't kill them with a bombing," he clenched his fists, muscles tensing with resolve, "then we'll just have to beat them to death." Turning to the soldier, he ordered, "You go hide in the jeep. Stay out of the fight." Suddenly, An uneasy feeling crept over Sora. I couldn't sense his presence. Something was off. Then, a cruel, mocking voice pierced the tension. "I've finally found you." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. From the shadows stepped a formidable figure, the bully. His eyes burned with hatred as he snarled, "Seed of the Abyss!" His voice dripped with venom. "You thief! Give me back what's mine!" Sora narrowed his eyes. "What are you talking about?" he demanded. The bully's grin twisted into a sinister sneer. "For the crime of taking another's power, you must pay with your life." Sora's expression hardened. "If that's all you've got, then you won't be able to kill me." The bully's eyes flicked upward, and he muttered bitterly, "Is Odin's raven watching me?" "No, it's an imitation, made by the humans." His disdain for the surveillance was clear. Sora shot back defiantly, "Hey, if you really want to kill me, come at me more seriously." But before Sora could react, the bully vanished into thin air. He disappeared? Enraged, the bully spat venomous words into the cold air. "How disgusting it is to be watched by these vile humans." His voice echoed with contempt. "These low-level creations make me sick. Take out all the observers." The soldier's heart pounded wildly as he shouted in frustration, "Damn! He destroyed my drone!" Despite the setback, he clung to a thread of hope. "But I somehow managed to complete my mission." He looked at the broken pieces of his drone with a mix of relief and anxiety. The reason the monsters changed course is because of this guy. He's the hunter who faced the rush alone. His voice rose in urgency. "I need to inform the commander about him." But before he could act further, a shout ripped through the air. "I've been found! Ooh-ah!" The bully's command rang out like a death knell, cold and commanding. "Kill all of them, my servants!" Despite the terror, the soldier's resolve only grew stronger. "If there is a strong hunter like you," he called out desperately, "I'm sure people could be saved." He raised his voice again, hoping Sora could hear him through the chaos. "Hey, I'm the soldier you helped earlier. This area is about to be bombed." But even as he shouted, panic seized him. "Damn it! Something's jammed!" The communication was breaking down under the relentless assault. Meanwhile, Sora's mind raced. To hunt an enemy, you have to start with their leader. His voice was steady but urgent. "If you want to save as many people as possible, you have to kill your enemies as quickly as possible." He observed the monstrous forms before him, noting the terrifying fusion that had taken place. By fusing with that man, that large monster's attack has increased. His eyes narrowed in fierce determination. "You're so persistent." Then something caught his eye, a chilling resemblance that made his heart skip a beat. "Huh? This guy looks just like me." Sora felt a surge of energy, powerful and overwhelming. Such a powerful energy surge. His gaze locked on the sword the creature wielded, a weapon radiating ominous power. "That sword is bad news." The bully's voice thundered across the battlefield, venom and finality in every word. "I will kill you. Seed of the Abyss. That is your destiny." Sora's mind reeled as the bully launched a deadly attack. "Shit, that was nullified too?" He stumbled back, confusion swirling in his thoughts. But why? Was it just my imagination? His instincts screamed at him as he felt the energy coursing through the enemy. This energy surge, it's almost exactly like the power of the Abyss. The realization sent a shiver down his spine. The battlefield crackled with tension, the air thick with the promise of an epic confrontation, one that would determine the fate of them all. The bully sneered down at Sora with disdain, his voice dripping with contempt. "Is stealing somebody else's weapon all you're capable of?" he taunted, eyes gleaming cruelly. Sora's gaze flickered to the place where the weapon had vanished, a faint shimmer marking its disappearance. It disappeared, he thought, acknowledging the overwhelming force at play. "This is the power of the Abyss," he muttered under his breath. "Looks like there are still a lot of uses for it that I haven't discovered yet." A spark of determination ignited within him despite the uncertainty. "This fight's going to drag on, isn't it?" he mused quietly, eyes narrowing as he quickly reassessed the situation. But first things first, the soldier's safety was paramount. Turning to him, Sora asked, "You okay with heights?" The soldier blinked in surprise. "Huh? Oh, yes." But his expression shifted quickly as realization dawned on him. "Huh?" Suddenly, the ground beneath them disappeared. They were airborne. "We're flying," Sora announced calmly, steadying himself mid-air as they moved swiftly through the sky. The bully's voice erupted with fury and warning. "You fool! Don't take the power of the Abyss lightly. The strong don't exist to protect the weak. They exist to become the strongest." His voice grew colder, sharper. "Die alongside that weak human." Despite the bully's threat, Sora remained unfazed. It's fast, he acknowledged, eyes darting ahead as they tried to evade their pursuer. Even if I run, it'll catch up to us. His jaw tightened. In that case, I'll just crush it. He brought his power to bear against the incoming threat, hoping to halt its approach. The impact, however, was non-existent. Did it work? No! There's no impact at all! Sora's eyes widened in realization. So that's the real body. Their enemy wasn't an illusion or a projection. It was tangible and nearly untouchable. Suddenly, the soldier's panic pierced the tense air. Ooh-wah! Crap! Sora's voice was sharp, commanding. Get out of the car! The soldier hesitated, trembling. Don't come any closer! The bully's sinister laughter filled the air, dark and mocking. Be not afraid, you pitiful lamb. I'll carry you back home, he sneered as he lunged toward the soldier. The soldier screamed, Gwa! Sora's frustration boiled over. Damn it! The bully circled them with cruel amusement. Are you angry? Don't get so worked up. His grin twisted malevolently. Look, he's not dead yet, see? He's even smiling right at you. His voice took on a cruel cadence. Watching everyone you care about die before your eyes. What a beautiful fate that is, seed of the abyss. Sora's eyes narrowed, voice sharp and cold. Do you get off on trampling other people's dignity too? The bully's laughter was chilling, a low, harsh chuckle. Coo. There's no need to state the obvious. He raised his hand, dark energy swirling around him. Obsidian storm! Sora braced himself against the attack, voice steady despite the danger. Is that so? He glared at the bully. Scum like you make me sick. I'm sorry. You got dragged into this. His tone softened just slightly, a mix of pity and resolve. The bully snarled, refusing to relent. It's useless. A rookie who can't even handle the power of the abyss can't hope to defeat me, Sora interrupted sharply, voice filled with fierce confidence. You're no match. The bully staggered back, disbelief flashing across his face. Impossible. You actually hurt me? Sora smiled grimly. People grow, you idiot. The bully's expression twisted into panic. This is bad. Damn it. Just by seeing my move, you've learned to control the power of the abyss? His eyes darted wildly. Where did you go? You're tougher than I thought. Sora's voice echoed with cold determination. You might escape from me, but let's see you escape this. The tension between them crackled with barely contained fury, the battlefield set for a fight that would test every ounce of their strength and will. Sora's eyes flashed with fierce determination as he focused intently on his opponent's movements. That technique again, he exclaimed, recognizing the familiar and dangerous maneuver. His mind quickly calculated his next move. Then I'll aim for the real body's core. With a burst of energy, he lunged forward, shouting, Get crushed! The bully's expression twisted in disbelief. No way, he muttered, barely able to react fast enough. Sora pressed his advantage without hesitation. You're next! His voice was sharp, full of confidence and resolve as he closed in. But the bully refused to be defeated so easily. Damn it, I'll remember this, he growled through clenched teeth. Summoning dark energy around him, he invoked a powerful technique. Shadow Unity. Sora narrowed his eyes, a trace of surprise flickering across his face. He used a technique like that just to escape, he thought, watching the shadows coalesce and envelop his foe. Glancing down at his torn clothes, Sora grimaced. Darn, my clothes are ruined. But relief softened his expression as his hand brushed the photo of his mom and dad tucked safely inside his pocket. I'm glad my mom and dad's picture is intact. Despite the setback, Sora's mind raced. This guy probably has family waiting for him too, he reasoned. No one wants to be lost to this madness alone. I'll take you back with me, he vowed quietly, steeling himself for the next confrontation. There was no way this was the end of the battle with that shadow-using opponent. The bully had absorbed so many shadows, Sora knew he could attack at any moment. His heart pounded as he prepared for what was to come. The bully's voice cut through the tension like a knife, dripping with cruel satisfaction. Watching everyone you care about die before your eyes, he taunted, as if it was a punishment and a pleasure all in one. Just you wait, Sora hissed, his voice low but fierce, promising retribution. The bully's cruel grin widened. What a beautiful fate this is. Seed of the abyss, he sneered, savoring his words. Sora's thoughts snapped back to the immediate danger. I can't let him get to the evacuation shelter first. Panic and determination surged through him. I have to get there as soon as possible. Meanwhile, back at the command center, the atmosphere was tense. The director barked out orders with steely authority. Drone squad, investigate the area carefully. Make sure you don't even miss a single mouse. All other units, remain on high alert. A soldier hurried forward, urgency clear in his voice. Director, the monsters are already... The director cut him off sharply. I know. They've all been defeated. Her tone was grim but composed. "Check the drone data and report any and all information immediately." "Yes, ma'am," the soldier replied, snapping to attention and rushing to access the drone feed. The director leaned over the monitor, eyes scanning the incoming footage. There are clear signs of a battle. The strong hunter Lieutenant Kajura mentioned survived not only the bombing, but also wiped out the entire monster rush. Her voice carried disbelief mixed with cautious hope. A soldier called out urgently, "Director." The director's eyes remained fixed on the screen as the soldier continued. "The SD card from this drone is still in good condition. I will visualize the data now." As the images flickered into view, the director studied them intently. "Let's take a look." Private First Class Matsura charged into the bombing zone, and the person next to him must be the strong hunter. The soldier's voice trembled slightly. "This is..." Suddenly another soldier called out from nearby. "Hey! What did you find?" Nothing," came the quick reply. "Don't you lie to me!" the first soldier growled, suspicion sharpening his tone. "You..." The accusation hung heavy in the air. The tension thickened as one soldier held up an object. "Was this dropped by the rush boss? They look like rare items." His voice lowered with both awe and greed. "Taking items obtained by the unit for yourself is a crime. You know what you have to do, don't you?" Another soldier's eyes gleamed greedily. "How are we supposed to divide it?" "Hey, relax," said a voice calm but edged with resolve. "The only thing I want is this thing." "No way!" a different voice exclaimed in disbelief. "A box like this is bound to have a legendary item." "Don't get the wrong idea," the calm voice snapped. "You don't have a choice, kid." His lips curved into a sly grin. "Hehehe, I finally obtained a golem relic." The atmosphere was heavy with tension, betrayal, and the quiet thrill of rare spoils. In the midst of chaos, greed and survival clashed as the soldiers wrestled not only with monsters but also with each other. Meanwhile, Sora's battle with the bully was far from over, and the fate of the evacuation shelter, and perhaps more, hung precariously in the balance. After a long and exhausting journey, Sora finally arrived at the evacuation shelter, shelter number 6. He took a moment to catch his breath and survey the surroundings. "I'm finally here," he murmured quietly to himself. Looking around carefully, he noticed something strange. The shelter appeared untouched. "Looks like they haven't been attacked yet." Relief washed over him, but it was quickly replaced by a nagging concern. "I don't feel his presence anywhere near. Actually, I don't feel the presence of anyone strong at all." A cold unease settled in his chest. If no strong person stepped up to protect this place, he knew it was only a matter of time before it was destroyed. The question that gnawed at him was simple but troubling. Is he blind? Was the enemy failing to notice this safe haven? Before he could ponder further, a calm but somewhat amused voice interrupted his thoughts. "Such dense blood you have. You must have come from outside, yes?" Startled, Sora turned to see a figure before him. "Yeah, that's right," he replied cautiously, trying to gauge the stranger's intentions. The man chuckled softly, the sound light, but filled with an undercurrent of curiosity. "Ha ha ha, I see. That's a relief then." He spoke with a tone that was neither threatening nor overly friendly. "Rest assured, for I mean no ill will. I only wish to buy information about the outside world from your excellency. It'd mean a lot to me if you possess the information I desire." Sora blinked, eyeing the man suspiciously. "Is this the currency they use around here? If it's something I know, sure," he said, half joking but keeping his guard up. The man smiled, clearly pleased. "That's good to hear." Sora wasn't quite ready to let his guard down, however. "But before that, I'd like to ask something. A monk calling me Your Excellency? You must be a fake," he said, his tone skeptical. The man laughed heartily, almost playfully. "Ha ha 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 ha. You've seen right through me. This outfit is just a hobby of mine," he admitted with a shrug. "And so does hiding your eyes," Sora pressed, noticing the man's eyes were obscured. The man hesitated, chuckling nervously. "Well, what a troublesome guy," Sora muttered under his breath. The man sighed. "I recently contracted an eye disease." But Sora's instincts warned him otherwise. Even with the man's eyes covered, he could sense a terrifying light lurking beneath. This was no ordinary ailment. The man must have his own reasons for concealing his power. "Looks like there's a wolf in sheep's clothing hiding in this shelter," Sora thought warily. "So?" Sora asked, turning back to the topic at hand. "What would you like to know?" The man's expression grew serious. "Oh, so it's finally my turn to ask." He leaned in slightly. "I'd like to know what's happening outside. They've gathered armed soldiers at the walls. They must be gearing up for battle." His voice dropped to a whisper. "And I'm sure the general public didn't notice this. But I heard explosions outside. Could you please tell me what's going on out there? Sora rubbed the back of his neck, honestly unsure himself. Honestly, I'm not totally sure either. I was on an errand outside when I heard a blast from the southwest. He chuckled awkwardly. I was so freaked out, I dropped my letter and had to use my shirt as a makeshift map. Ha 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 ha. The man blinked, a flicker of surprise crossing his face. Is that so? So you're also hiding your power? He nodded appreciatively. Southwest, you say? Thank you very much. You've been a huge help. Sora smirked to himself, thinking, don't mention it. But inside, his mind was racing. He's heading in such vague directions by himself? How many fighters of his caliber are out there? He felt conflicted. He couldn't exactly make a scene, and yet here he was, wandering freely despite looking suspicious. Maybe humanity's guard is down because we're all facing the same enemy. The man suddenly smiled and said, please come again. Sora looked down at the new clothes he had bought with the money the monk gave him. Feeling a slight boost of confidence, he thought, now then, it's time to find my parents. He decided to start the old-fashioned way. Excuse me, do you recognize this couple in the photo? He held out the picture carefully. A lady looked at it and stammered, I don't know them. Sora frowned in confusion. Huh. The woman's reaction was as if he had shown her a ghost. Is everyone here on edge? Suddenly, a rough voice interrupted. The hell are you looking at? Sora turned to see a gruff man glaring at him. Guess I'll have to ask him, Sora thought. Hey, you! The man called out. What? Sora replied cautiously. You don't look like you're from around here, the man said suspiciously. You're hitting on people with a picture in the middle of the night? Which era do you think this is? Sora held up the photo again. Do you know these two? The man sneered. Now you're hitting on everyone you see? Hey, why do you have a photo of them? I'm asking if you know who these people are, Sora pressed. The man's expression hardened. What's your deal with them? Sora took a deep breath and said quietly, I'm their son. The man's face twisted in disbelief. You're that kid? Are you trying to make fun of me? Who? Sora's voice remained calm but firm. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Could you repeat that? The man blinked, suddenly deflating. Oh, so it was you. Wow. Long time no see? His tone shifted to a friendlier one. Just go straight down this road, and you'll find their home. Thanks, Sora said sincerely. The man waved him off, but his eyes darted nervously. Take care. This is bad. I need to gather everyone. Sora stood there for a moment, reflecting. A thug knows where my folks live. Come to think of it, Dad was kind to anyone he met. Mom was the same. Nice people like them just get taken advantage of in this world. But Sora smiled softly, feeling a surge of hope. But it's okay. I'm here now. He walked forward, arriving at what looked like a humble home. This must be the place. His heart raced as he thought, those two live here? With so many gone, there were plenty of empty houses nearby. Suddenly, a familiar voice called out, Done with work for today? Sora's heart leapt. That's Dad's voice. As he approached, the door opened and a man greeted him warmly. Welcome home. Sora took a hesitant step forward, and the man's expression shifted in confusion. Huh? Who are you? It's me, Sora said softly. The man echoed, blinking. Sora smiled faintly. It's me, Sora. The man's eyes widened in recognition. Huh? The atmosphere in the room was heavy with anticipation and unspoken tension as Sora's mother finally broke the silence. Sorry to keep you waiting, she said gently, her voice laced with a mix of concern and a mother's quiet strength. She glanced meaningfully at Sora and his father, then added, Have you two still not exchanged a word with each other? Sora's father let out a weary sigh, the weight of the situation clearly pressing down on him. Yeah, he said, his tone a mixture of disbelief and frustration. I can hardly believe it myself. He's a completely different person from the Sora we used to know. He looked toward his son, his eyes searching for the boy he once knew, but the gap between them seemed wider than ever. Then, with a firmer voice, he added, At a time like this, we need those. Sora furrowed his brow, confused by his father's statement. And what is those? He asked cautiously. His father's expression hardened with resolve. Why, an exchange of secrets between a father and his son, of course, he declared. I don't want to expose myself to my wife, he admitted with a hint of reluctance. But if you can't give me answers, you won't be walking away unscathed. If you say anything even slightly suspicious, I want you dealt with. Sora's eyes narrowed, realizing the stakes were higher than ever. At that moment, A nearby figure stepped forward, a stern-looking man who nodded briskly. "Roger," he responded, confirming he was ready to enforce the father's orders. Sora looked at this man, a henchman of sorts, and understood that the father's caution was justified. A henchman? I see he's still wary, Sora mused silently. The father gave a small, reassuring smile. "With security this tight, I can finally relax," he said. Then turning to Sora, he asked, "So, are you up for it?" Sora smirked, the old fire flickering in his eyes. "Take care, henchman," he warned, "because you're about to hear things you shouldn't." Sora began to recount details only the family could know. "Every weekend," he said, his tone laced with mockery, "you'd take cooking classes at the Homemakers Support Group." His father's eyes widened in shock. "Why does he know that?" he whispered, disbelief coloring his voice. The henchman, caught off guard, stammered, The Homemakers Support Group?" Sora pressed on, relentless. "On top of that, you'd sneak off every weekend to take ballet classes." The henchman's jaw dropped in surprise. "Ballet?" he exclaimed. The father coughed to cover his embarrassment. "Ahem. That may be true," he admitted, "but you don't have to be my son to figure that out." Sora wasn't finished. "Then how about I tell you something about our family?" he challenged. The father's expression hardened into one of defiance. "Oh yeah? You really know?" "Of course," Sora said, his voice cold and unwavering. "Don't say I didn't warn you." The father dared him. Go ahead." Sora's eyes gleamed as he delivered his revelation. "That Japanese sword is just a replica." The henchman gasped. "A replica?" The father's face twisted in disbelief. Don't be ridiculous. Do you have proof?" Sora smirked. "Proof?" "The hilt has my brother's bite marks on it." The father blinked in shock. "Huh?" The henchman suddenly recalled the tale, eyes wide. "What? Were they not from when the family head had his hands bound, so he bit down on that blade and killed 38 people?" he asked incredulously. "Humph! He talks big, but I'm sure his goal is to catch the family head off guard and finish him off." Sora's grin widened as he continued. "It extends, and it retracts too, huh?" The father's voice softened with relief and disbelief. "You idiot! We thought you were dead. It's really you, Sora. Our Sora is home. If only you knew what we've been through." Sora's eyes filled with emotion as he replied quietly, "Dad," the father's voice cracked with emotion. "We scoured every landmark for intel on you, and before I knew it, I had ended up as a boss. And now that very boss is bawling his eyes out. How pathetic. Can you bring the person above us down?" The henchman seemed shaken by the weight of the conversation. "The family head has lived his whole life under a rain of blood. I've never witnessed anything like this. Shoot! I saw the family head, someone who cherishes honor above all in such a state. I need to get out of here. Please don't kill me." Sora raised his hand, calling for calm. "Please wait. Dad says he wants to talk." The father turned sharply toward the henchman. "Ochiai, out of all my guards, you have the loosest tongue," Sora added sternly. "If this gets out..." Both father and son spoke in unison, their voices hard and resolute. "It's on you." The henchman dropped his head in submission. "I promise I won't say a word. There's no doubt about it. They're definitely father and son." The mother intervened with a warning tone. Now, don't threaten him." "Ma'am," the henchman stammered. The mother's eyes narrowed as she spoke firmly. "But absolutely not a word." "Yes, the henchman started, then quickly shut his mouth. The father chuckled quietly. "I'm so glad he didn't talk about me farting or snoring while I'm sleeping." The mother shot him a sharp look. "And yet you brought it up yourself." Sora sat back, a deep sigh escaping him as he reflected on the long road he had traveled. "It's like I just crawled out of the abyss again. I'm really home." Suddenly, a voice interrupted from outside the room. "Boss, there's a white-haired kid looking for you." The man with others barges in. Sora's voice cut through the tension. "White-haired kid? Are you talking about me?" The man who'd spoken earlier stammered in alarm. It's Ham!" he shouted, panic in his voice. "You might be strong, but we have many people here. Are you planning on doing something to our boss? Are you from Tiger's Roar?" Sora just broke his legs, but Sora just turned towards his father, a quiet challenge in his voice. "Dad, why don't you introduce me to your men?" His father stepped forward, his expression conflicted. "He's my son, Sora," he declared, his voice carrying through the group. "He's been missing for 5 years and finally returned today." He paused, his brow furrowed. "His level is..." The words caught in his throat. "But I don't know his level at all. His level is..." Sora's face remained unreadable. "I don't have the system." A stunned silence followed. "What?" one of the men blurted. Another quickly followed. "You survived in the fallen zones for 5 years without the system?" They began murmuring among themselves. "If you don't have the system, then, no matter how hard you train, you can't get past level 10. Someone scoffed. "What the hell? You kept saying he's strong, but he's really just a beginner without the system." Laughter broke out. "Ha ha ha, I must have been mistaken. But if he's actually a beginner, how did that impact from before not even hurt him?" Sora's cold gaze swept over them. "Want to try seeing my level with your system?" "Huh?" one man stammered. That's all right." He scratched his head awkwardly. "Since you don't have the system, you obviously don't know the basic information. If you have the system, you can see the levels of monsters, but you can't see the levels of others without the inspect skill." His father added, "The inspect skill is rare. Not many hunters have it." Someone else spoke up. "The boss has it, though." Sora glanced at his father. "Then take a look, Dad. I wish I could get some information about the abyss." "Aren't you going to check, Mom?" His mother's voice was soft, but sure. "More than that, I just want to be by your side, and I already know anyway." Gasps rippled through the men. "What the?" someone whispered. "This is..." another added, baffled. His father's brow furrowed in frustration. "No matter how much I try, I get the same result. I can't see any information." He let out a slow breath. "There could be 2 possible reasons for that. Either this is happening because Sora has no system, or his level is way too high for me to be able to see it." His expression tightened. "But even when Sora doesn't have the system, I can still see his name. What's more, Sora survived alone for 5 years. He'd be dead by now if he were a beginner. So your level's just beyond my perception?" His voice dropped into a murmur. "Sora, just what have you been doing these past 5 years?" His mother stepped closer, her eyes glistening. "In any case, shouldn't we be happy? Sora is a strong child. You must have gone through a lot to come back." Sora's expression softened as he faced her. "Mom, it's all right now. I'm back, Mom, so please don't cry." His father clapped his hands. "All right, you guys, get out of here. A mother and her child have finally been reunited after such a long time." He glanced around, noticing something. "By the way, what about Jiro and the others? It's been 2 hours and they're still not back." Sora's expression darkened. "Oh, right. Mom, what about my brother?" "Don't tell me." His mother shook her head quickly. "He's fine. He doesn't come home often because he's in the military. Since you're back now, do you want me to call him? He's been fighting on the front lines all the time, almost as if trying to avenge you." Sora's voice softened again. "I haven't seen him in so long. Mom, do you have a high-ranking position here?" She smiled faintly. "I have status, but the reason those guys trust me is because I'm a cleric. I'm a healer with many healing abilities, capable of providing great support, and even prophecy." Sora's curiosity flared. "Then since you're a cleric, can you see what's going on with me?" His mother shook her head gently. "No, I don't have the abilities to see skills." Sora tilted his head. "Then how did you know I would—" She smiled, her voice steady. "I told you. Clerics have the ability to prophecy. I knew you would return one day." At that moment, a murmur spread through the crowd. "Who is it?" one of the men muttered. "The Vice Chief?" someone stammered, eyes widening. "Welcome back," Sora's father greeted as he spotted Jiro approaching. Then he frowned, noticing the grim look on his face. Why the long face? Did something happen? I had someone look into this behind the scenes. What did they find out?" Jiro sighed heavily. "Tiger's Roar is related to the army, just like you suspected, boss. We turned in the monster carcasses to the army like always, but this guy with a notebook started nitpicking during inspection." Flashbacks of the inspection surfaced as Jiro spoke. "It's way too damaged," the man with the notebook had complained, flipping pages. "There's no way they'll accept this." Jiro continued, frustration evident. "So he makes up an excuse, only gives us half the points, then reports the full amount to his bosses. Upon checking, all the disparity led straight to Tiger's Roar." His father's eyes narrowed. "So that's what happened. If Tiger's Roar, who's supposed to be neutral, is pulling something like this, then there's gotta be more to it. But we can't just sit back and get trampled on. That would affect this town's future." He straightened, his voice firm. "No matter. For now, get some food and rest. I'll head over to Tiger's Roar later and straighten this out. We gotta show them the United Guilds isn't that naive. Sora, who had been quietly observing, clenched his fist. Tiger's roar, huh? He thought. Thanks to that black shard, all my abilities went into overdrive. It's not just my strength either. My senses have become sharper too. I can pick up distant sounds now. Looks like Kagawa and those robbers are also tied to Tiger's roar. Now Dad's going to negotiate with them? I'm a little worried. He spoke up. Dad, I'm coming with you. Some of the men nearby exchanged glances. He plans to get involved in this mess? One muttered. This may be my chance to see his true powers. Jiro looked over, curious. Who's this? His father smiled. Let me introduce him. This is my son Sora, who went missing in the Fallen Zone for 5 years. Jiro blinked. 5 years in the Fallen Zone? By himself? What's his level? The father hesitated a second before answering. Sora doesn't possess the system. Jiro's expression twisted in disbelief. So he's a normal person? Without the system, you'll be dead meat in any shelter. You won't be able to last more than 3 days out there. It's not entirely impossible with elite stats and top survival skills, but without job skills, you'll become dead weight the moment things turn into a fight. He grinned. That's great news, but you just got back. You must be exhausted. Why don't you sit this one out? Right, boss? His father gave a short nod. Yeah, you're right. Sora, stay home with your mother. His mother quickly agreed. Good idea. I haven't even shown you around our house yet. Sora kept his expression unreadable, but his thoughts churned. So they think I won't be of any use in battle? I guess that's to be expected. I'm just a normal human to anyone who has the system. Come to think of it, I still haven't grasped this shelter's full picture. If there really is a monster like I'm imagining, I need to hide my real powers so I don't drag my parents into it. He let out a breath. All right. Nearby, one of the men groaned. Huh? I lost my chance to see his powers. His father rallied the men. Let's go. Yeah, the others responded. His mother placed a hand on Sora's shoulder. Don't fret over it too much. He's just worried about you. We just reunited after a long time. Of course he wouldn't want to put you in danger any longer. But, Sora started. It's gonna be fine, she assured with a bright smile. He's really strong. I always use my vision to see the future, and it tells me he'll come out of this safely, too. Sora grumbled softly, trying to shake his concern. Fine, fine. I'm not a kid anymore. Still, a gnawing thought lingered. It's true that Mom uses her prophecies to foresee danger, but Tiger's roar is connected to the military. My dad will only keep clashing with them more often from here on out. He turned toward her. What's the shelter's situation now, and why is Tiger's roar on bad terms with us? His mother sighed and explained. Ever since Judgment Day, a hunter guild founded by the Awakened joined forces with the military to manage the shelters. Then he started the United Guilds and cooperated with the military here at Evacuation Shelter 6 in hopes of finding you. The United Guild grew this large because everyone was moved by that person's vow to find each other's family. The United Guilds handle keeping order, scavenging supplies out in the field, and dealing with monsters while the military takes care of breaches and tower raids. She smiled wistfully. He's a kind man. That's why he didn't want to send his own people into the breach. That's how we've managed to preserve peace these past 4 years. But several months ago, Tiger's Roar, a large hunter guild from Evacuation Shelter 4, came here to set up a branch. Ever since then, our conflict with them never stopped. Sora frowned. Why won't the military interfere? His mother's face darkened slightly. Since the enemies just keep on getting stronger, the army can't hold them back anymore. But Tiger's Roar was found to clear the towers, and their strength is so overwhelming that the army has no choice but to lean on them. Information on tower raiding is valuable enough that the military can't just ignore it. She lowered her voice, glancing around. On top of that, Tiger's Roar has an Awakened chosen by the tower deity, an Ezra. The one chosen by that deity is Tiger's Roar's real trump card. The tower deity? Sora asked. They're the lord of the towers. Their power is practically equivalent to a god's for us humans. If you pass the deity's trial, you become an Ezra and are bestowed a divine power. They're considered God's messengers outside the towers. They also become guardians within the tower's walls. She sighed. Tiger's Roar currently has the most number of Ezras. Since each Ezra harbors absurd power, Tiger's Roar swallowed up every neighboring guild in no time. Your father's guild is beloved by the locals, but they've never cleared a single tower. We're the only ones in the Union still struggling without an Ezra. Sora grimaced. The situation's pretty bad. Then a curious thought struck him. Wait, if people love the United Guilds, Why do they behave like a Yakuza group? His mother blinked. Huh? That's just my personal preference. She let out a mischievous laugh. Huh. What does it matter? Everyone's happy and full of energy. Go on, you're tired, aren't you? Go ahead and have a nice bath, she winked. Call me if you'd like to have your back washed. Sora blushed and flailed. No, thanks. I'll do it myself. His mother chuckled fondly. My, you've really grown up. As she left the room, Sora exhaled and muttered to himself. All right, she's gone. I had no idea the situation was this serious. I still can't help but worry about Dad. From the other room, his mother's voice drifted gently. They told you to get some rest. Children can be such a handful sometimes. Sora's father, Sakuya, was already on his way to the Tiger's Roar Guild, accompanied by several members of the United Guild. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the night, Sora was moving alone. Everything but the center is pitch black, huh? Sora muttered to himself, eyes scanning the dim surroundings. That's a good thing. It's easier to find that way. His gaze fixed on a point in the distance. Over there! But then, A sudden wave of dizziness hit him like a blow. Why do I feel dizzy? He murmured. It made no sense. Ever since he'd been strengthened by the fragments of the abyss, he hadn't even caught a cold. A cold, unfamiliar voice echoed from the shadows. Seed of the abyss? Sora's pulse spiked. This is... The voice came again, harsher. I won't let you run away! That guy's voice! Sora thought in alarm, spinning around. Is he hiding his presence? I can't sense him at all. His thoughts sharpened. Damn it! So he was in Shelter 6 after all! He clutched his head as the dizziness intensified. Ugh! The dizziness! The sinister voice pressed closer. I won't let you run away, Seed of the Abyss! Sora's eyes darted through the darkness. Again, because your soul has been marked by me. There he is! Sora caught sight of a vague figure in the darkness. An illusion? The voice chanted the same relentless words. I won't let you run away, Seed of the Abyss, because your soul has been marked by me. Sora gritted his teeth. Is this the soul marking? I won't let you run away, Seed of the... A voice cut through the night. Hey, what are you doing here at this time of night? Sora cursed under his breath. Damn it! I shouted aloud and they noticed! Get down! Someone ordered. Damn it! Sora hissed, darting into the shadows. Hold it! Another voice called. Sora glanced around, and the illusion was gone. The illusion disappeared, but then it returned. I won't let you run away, Seed of the Abyss, the figure snarled again. It's back again? Sora realized. Did it disappear because of the light? A thought flickered. Let me give it a try. I think I kinda get it. He steadied his breathing. If I stay in the dark for 7 seconds, the soul marking gets activated, and I get very dizzy. If I lose my composure, the dialogue changes. I won't let you run away, the voice declared again, because your soul has been marked by me. Sora's jaw clenched. And only I can see this face. Nearby, a couple of women whispered to each other. A Chunabu? One of them remarked skeptically. Sora ignored them, analyzing. When I walked under the light, a screeching noise starts ringing in my head, and after a while, the marking disappears and I stop seeing him. Was the reason I didn't experience this before thanks to the sunlight and lights in the house? That must be it. The eerie voice came again. Seed of the Abyss. Sora's brow furrowed. But maybe he can find my location. I won't let you run away, the voice snarled. He could launch a surprise attack any time, Sora realized grimly. So I shouldn't let my guard down. But first, I should find my dad. I won't let you run away, Seed of the Abyss, the voice howled again. Ugh, shut up, Sora growled. He focused. Yep, he doesn't appear when there's light. His thoughts raced. If it's as Mom said, that the United Guilds are really no longer any use to the military, then Dad could be in danger. I don't know how many strong people there are in the shelter, but there's no way a military allied with Tiger's Roar Guild will just be sitting around quietly. There's a big chance they're trying to destroy the United Guilds. His eyes narrowed coldly. In that case, I'll protect Mom and Dad, even if it means killing everyone. Can we really not go back to those peaceful days? He stopped, recognizing his surroundings. Looks like I've reached the place. He paused, watching from the shadows. How will Dad handle these discussions? When in conflict with someone, violence should be your last resort. It's a last resort, okay? Okay, got it. He squinted. Will he wait until the last moment even now? A voice from the gathered crowd interrupted his thoughts. "Out of the way! It's starting!" the gathered men murmured excitedly. "It's been a while since the boss drew his sword. The last time, he left a nearly 20-meter-long scar on his opponent." Then, a commanding voice cut through the tension. "Tsuchida!" Sakuya called out, his voice sharp and unwavering. "Come out and face me." Sora's eyes widened. "Huh? Hey," Sora spoke up, stepping closer to one of the men nearby. Has the boss always been like that?" The man blinked at him. "You don't know. The boss is well known for jumping into fights quickly." Sora frowned. "Doesn't he always say that violence is the last resort?" The man gave an awkward laugh, scratching the back of his head. "Oh, he did say that at first. Back then, he still believed the military would fix things. But a lot's happened since then. For the military, as long as the hunters are doing their jobs and the civilians aren't starving to death, they don't care about a few fights. They're not gonna bother managing every little scrap that breaks out." He shrugged. "That's why resolving things with your fists is the quickest way. If you can't win in a fight, then there's no need to talk. And if you can win, well, then talking wouldn't help anyway. Basically, hit 'em first, then talk it out." Sora's eyes narrowed, his thoughts racing. "From what I saw of that monk, do the strong usually avoid making trouble? Am I misunderstanding? Or does it mean you can rampage as much as you want if you have as much power as Dad? Or was he just blindfolded for the sake of it?" Not far off, Yukio's eyes glinted as his keen senses activated. "A level 90 boss, and it looks like it's been torn apart without any burns from heavy weaponry or anything. It's scary how there are still so many strong people out there. We should act with caution." Meanwhile, tension was peaking on the field. "Tsuchida!" Sakuya roared. "You bastard! You still think things are the same as when the evacuation shelters were built?" Tsuchida sneered back. "Things certainly have changed," he shot back. "After all, annoying bastards like you appeared. I should have killed you back then. So why not do it now? What? Are you scared?" Tsuchida goaded. Sakuya's eyes flashed. "What was that? I can't just ignore that." Tsuchida smirked darkly. "I've provoked him enough. Come on out already. Or is it still not enough?" His voice sharpened. "You can't even draw your sword, you coward! You're better off becoming fuel for Tiger's roar, don't you think, you scum?" A ripple of murmurs spread through the gathered men. "He took the bait," one whispered. "Not one step closer," another warned. Just then, a sharp voice cut across the crowd. "You've got some nerve starting a fight in a shelter," Osamu declared, stepping out with a cold stare. Gasps followed. "Usui? Is he planning to side with Tiger's roar?" a man muttered. "Why is he here?" another asked, wary. Sora narrowed his eyes. "Is that the soldier who's supporting Tiger's roar? Is this a coincidence?" He focused his senses. "Oi, I can sense a lot of people in this building. It's not a coincidence that he's here." Sakuya scowled. "So, this is the soldier backing Tiger's roar?" Osamu's tone was official, laced with menace. "According to Article 15 of the Temporary Shelter Security Act, dueling in shelters is forbidden. Offenders may be punished with imprisonment of 15 days or more, depending on the severity of the offense, or even face the death penalty. Will you be following our instructions, Mukujima?" Sakuya clenched his fists, instantly realizing the ploy. "So this is your plan? To provoke me, and then when I strike back, use the law to get me arrested. He's not worried about his corruption being exposed. I can't believe he's trying to frame me so blatantly." His expression hardened. "And once I'm imprisoned, they can extend my sentence indefinitely, maybe even make me disappear in an unfortunate accident. If they lose me, their greatest asset, the United Guild, will be crushed by Tiger's roar and the others right away." His mind raced. But why is the military going so far to disrupt the balance? Is there some power struggle within the military? I don't know what he's after, but I cannot admit to any crime. Straightening his back, Sakuya answered coolly. "I believe you are mistaken. He and I were not dueling at all. As someone supporting the United Guilds, I cannot admit to a crime without any evidence." Osamu gestured at the ground. "These sword marks are clear evidence." Sakuya scoffed. "You must be kidding me. Indeed, it might be evidence. But it is evidence I was trying to renovate the building, not to start a duel." Osamu's lips curled. "It seems you still don't understand. It's not up to you to decide that. It's up to me. If I say it's evidence of a duel, then it is evidence of a duel." His voice dropped ominously. "The moment you stepped in here, You had already lost. Now obediently submit yourself to be arrested. The men shouted from the sidelines, their voices full of urgency. Boss! Don't lose, boss! If they're up for it, then let's take them on, another yelled. But Sakuya held up a hand, stopping them. Hold your horses. They're within the range too, so they won't fire. Osamu smirked. Heh heh. Sakuya assessed the situation quickly. Level 63, huh? And stopping fast opponents like assassins is difficult. But if I take Tsuchida hostage, we can get through this. And then, it came. Both Osamu and Tsuchida tensed. Here it comes! Tsuchida braced himself. Sword shield! He narrowed his eyes. I can't get the weak link. An agent's defensive skills are different from other classes. You can analyze a lot more about an incoming attack. At this distance, I can block it. He gripped his shield tighter. Sword shield can only block swords, but that's why, when facing a sword, it can perform well beyond its level. This can block a full-blown attack from a level 69 warrior. A level 65 warrior's attack is nothing. Mukujima won't be able to cut this shield. Give up, Mukujima. Osamu smirked confidently. Now, will you come quietly, or will you be thrown in a jail cell with all your comrades? Make your decision. Boss, Kaji called out tense. Boss, the men echoed behind him. Osamu laughed darkly. You've finally made a wise decision. The men gritted their teeth in frustration. They're mocking us. Was that strike earlier just for show? Shut up, one of them barked. The boss is doing this to protect us. But Kaji's eyes caught something. I got a signal from the boss. When he raises his sword, it means to get ready. And if he lets go, we attack. They don't know that the boss and I have this skill. Tsuchida's eyes locked onto Sakuya. His sword? Disappearing? He quickly reassured himself. Not a problem. This shield has a spell to block sword attacks. It's a shield even a level 69 couldn't cut. So how does he think he could? Then it hit him. It wasn't a sword. It was a hammer. Osamu's voice rang out. I know what your goal is. If you lay even a hand on me, you'll be executed. Stop! Kaji shouted. Tsuchida growled. He's gone insane! Hey, kill him! Fire! The soldiers shouted. Activate! Kaji ordered. Sakuya gritted his teeth. All right, if we can just stop him from moving, we can retreat. What? Tsuchida gasped. What? Sakuya echoed, eyes wide. Osamu grinned maliciously. The stone jail your ally created trapped me in the shadows, and I marked the lingering magic on Tsuchida's shattered shield. With that, I've met the conditions for the assassin skill. Shadow trance. He stepped forward. Without your hostage, you've lost. Let's end this. What? Sakuya exclaimed. Is that? Kaji whispered in disbelief. Director? One of the soldiers stammered. Osamu's gaze snapped toward the new voice. What are you so surprised about? And then, from the shadows, another voice spoke. Yeah, what are you so surprised about? Osamu's mind raced. Who is he? Backup Mukujima called for? He managed to get behind me. An assassin? I don't know who he is, but he's definitely an enemy. The person who makes the first strike wins. I've got no choice but to use that. Tsuchida's eyes widened in horror. That's the deadly poison tiger's roar prepared to defeat the level 90 boss. When did he steal it? Coup! Let's go! Osamu barked, ready to trigger the poison. Sora! Sakuya shouted in alarm. That bastard! Tsuchida cursed. At this rate, he's gonna take everyone down with him. What's this fog? One of the soldiers coughed. Everyone retreat! It's poison! Tsuchida sneered, spiteful. I don't like this, but at least Mukujima's ally is dead. Then his eyes went wide in disbelief. What? He can still move? But this poison is strong enough to kill a level 90 boss. Osamu's face contorted in shock. Don't tell me! He's a monster! Where do you think you're going? Sora called out, stepping in front of Tsuchida, his eyes sharp and unyielding. Tsuchida's face twisted, breaking into a cold sweat as he assessed the situation. Regardless of your job, every player has 5 stats, he thought quickly. Those being intelligence, perception, strength, agility, and constitution. If he can withstand that poison, then his constitution is on par with a level 100 player. Sora's voice was cold and firm. Tell your men to lower their weapons. But Osamu moved first. Shadow Spear, he snarled, sending a streak of dark energy forward. Shut up! Tsuchida's eyes gleamed. This is our chance, while he's busy breaking free from that joint lock. But Osamu quickly realized something was wrong. Even if he's strong, I doubt he can react to my shadow trance. The moment his attack struck, shock rippled through him. His body! It's as hard as iron! I can't pull it out! What the— Before he could react further, a sharp gust blasted him back. He managed to hurt me with that gust alone? Osamu gasped. I need to retreat! He's too fast! From the sidelines, a couple of soldiers exchanged looks. "Want to do it?" one of them asked hesitantly. Sora didn't spare them a glance. "Dad, I leave the other one to you," he called out. "Let's head home." Right, Sakuya muttered, still rattled by the scene. Back at home, his mother looked up as they entered. "Is it over?" Sakuya nodded. "Yeah." Kaji stepped forward, eager. "Did they admit anything?" "Not a word," Sakuya sighed. "Their lips are tied. No matter. At least now we know where Tiger's Roar stands. Stay on alert for a few days. Tiger's Roar's plans aside." Kaji glanced toward Sora, his expression softening. "Sora, what did you go through these past 5 years?" Sora took a deep breath, his voice steady but heavy. "After seeing your conflict with them, I realized what I'd done. I fell into a strange realm 5 years ago and spent all that time killing monsters. It must have been one of the towers. I was trapped inside." He explained everything that had happened during those years. The endless battles, the strange world's unending night, the monsters, and the summoner who finally sent him back. Sakuya's brow furrowed. "There are 16 towers in total, but none match your story." Sora was quiet for a moment. "It was an uncharted tower then." Kaji's gaze turned serious. "If that tower's near Shelter 6, we can prioritize clearing it." Sakuya shook his head, then smiled faintly. "I'm just glad you're alive, Sora." Kaji chuckled and clapped him on the shoulder. "Alive? He's come back billions of times stronger than all of us. Ha 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 ha." His mother stepped closer, her voice warm. "It doesn't matter what happened, as long as he's home." Sakuya placed an arm around both of them. "We'll never let our family split up again." Sora looked at their faces, his heart tight. "They're both as scared as I am. I'll never leave them ever again." Suddenly his mother glanced up. "Oh?" Sakuya frowned. "What's going on? A blackout?" Kaji checked the window. "The forecast predicted heavy rain and thunderstorms tonight." "But I haven't heard any thunder yet," Sakuya noted, unease creeping in. Sora's eyes widened, a chill running down his spine. "This is bad!" From the shadows, a familiar venomous voice whispered. "I definitely won't let you get away this time." "Damn it," Sora muttered under his breath, eyes narrowing. He appeared again. But something felt off this time. What he just said, it's different from last time, Sora realized. Moreover, "It's another blackout," his mother murmured, glancing up as the lights flickered out. Sora's heart sank. Both Mom and Dad, they can't see him despite being ability users. Then, just like that, the eerie presence vanished. "He's gone. Was he dispelled?" Sora hesitated. "No, he just left my body." A sinister voice called out, slithering through the darkness. "It's been a while, Seed of the Abyss." Sora's stomach twisted. It acquired a sense of self? Yet looking around, he saw no physical form. "But it doesn't look like he's physically materialized. This must be an illusion. I can deal with it later." But the voice mocked him. "Are you trying to pretend you can't hear me? Do you think this is an illusion? Ordinary people sure love to fool themselves." "So you still think this is an illusion?" Sora's confidence cracked. I can't see." His mind raced. "Then does that mean this isn't an illusion?" "Sora!" his mother called out urgently. Sakuya rushed to his side. "What happened to your eyes?" "Purify!" his mother chanted. A system message appeared. "The target is not cursed." "That was his physical form already?" Sora panicked. "This is bad. They're in danger." A cruel chuckle sounded. "Coo! What? You scared?" the voice teased. "Sora!" Sakuya demanded, weapons ready. "Is there an enemy? I don't see anything." "Cowardly bastard!" Sora spat. "Why do you keep hounding me?" "Cowardly bastard? Oh, come on, don't get the wrong idea." The voice let out a dark, amused sigh. "Come to think of it, I haven't introduced myself yet. I come from the noble deity race, Asa. I am the god of darkness." "Photo!" The name made Sora's blood run cold. "And you absorbed the black crystal, the divine power the Asa race left in the abyss." Photo continued, his voice thick with venom. "Strictly speaking, My power of darkness. God's agents are keeping tabs on you because you left the abyss on your own accord. Those very agents have started to gather. If you don't want to die, come back to the tower with me. God's agents, Sora thought grimly. He must be talking about the Ezra's mom told me about. I don't know what's going on, Sakuya growled, but I can tell he's a dangerous guy. Kill him. Wait, his mother cautioned. Let's wait and see how this pans out. Sora scoffed. Huh, so even gods like you can get wrecked. What can a few Ezras do to me? Don't get cocky just because you beat me by a stroke of luck, Fodal snarled. The other Ezras can't even compare to my current strength. Even I can take your sight without breaking a sweat. Sora glared. And on what basis am I supposed to believe you? Fodal laughed maniacally. Ha ha ha. Foolish pleb. You don't believe me? Fine. You'll regret everything right after blood starts raining on this land. Sora gritted his teeth. I don't have a reason to believe him, but on the off chance that he's telling the truth, what should I do? His vision suddenly cleared. I can see again. What? Fodal snapped. I believe him, a calm, steady voice spoke. Sakuya's head whipped around. Shuzenji! Sora's eyes widened. That's the monk from the shelter entrance? Do you know him? Sakuya nodded, tension easing for the first time. He's not just some guy I know. He and I founded the guild together. Damn you, Shuzenji! Fodal howled, thrashing. Release me! Sora stared. You can see him? We need to talk, Shuzenji said quietly, his gaze locked onto Sora's. This is an emergency. What exactly is going on here? Sakuya demanded. I'll explain, Shuzenji replied, as soon as I finish talking to your son. All right, Sakuya backed off reluctantly. So, Sora asked tightly, what did you mean by emergency? Shuzenji's face was grave. I'm no Ezra, but my eyes can see divine powers. It was for that reason I was able to use forbidden arts to seal that god. Furthermore, although your divine power is of the same nature as his, its strength far surpasses that of any deity. Sora felt the weight of his words settle on him. I know not how you came to possess it, Shuzenji continued. But we no longer have the time to investigate. Several immense divine forces have begun gathering in this town. Most likely, they seek your power. He let that sink in, then added, I do not know what happened between you and that god, but what he said was true. However, you must not return to the abyss. What resides within the tower is far more troublesome than Ezra's. Sora's blood chilled. It seeks to deceive you and drag you back in order to reclaim your divine power, Shuzenji warned. What you must do now is leave this place and enlist in the military. The same people who tried to blow me up? Sora asked bitterly. Shuzenji laughed. Ha 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 ha. The military may be like that now, but there is one individual whom you can trust. The Ezras will not dare lay a hand on you if you are officially aligned with the military. But even if I leave, Sora countered, how does that guarantee my parents' safety? Rest assured, Shuzenji promised. The Sura abide by an unspoken rule to not involve themselves with ordinary civilians so easily. It is precisely because of that custom that the Union continues to exist. His expression softened, but his voice stayed firm. Above all, with my presence here, they will not act rashly. After all, Reikans are equal in power to Ezra's. Hiro scowled, arms crossed as he muttered bitterly, what a bullshit mission. There's no system, and we even wasted 4 of our AR'd Ezras on him. Shiraya, standing nearby, spoke calmly. According to the report, Sakuya Mukujima's son had been missing for many years. He likely managed to enter the tower by chance. Hiro alone should be enough to deal with trash like him. What? Hiro snapped, clicking his tongue in irritation. Tsk. Suddenly, another voice spoke up. Mukai himself stepping forward. This time, I'm joining the operation as well. Kaichi's eyes widened. You too, boss? Mukai's expression was grim, his tone sharp. It's a direct order from Zeus. That brat, Sora Mukujima, must be eliminated at all costs. And the 16th tower near Shelter 6 is about to activate soon. You all know how valuable gaining control over that tower is. His voice turned colder. The stubborn United Guilds have rejected Tiger's Roar's proposal and plan to go on their own. That's why we're not just going after Sora Mukujima. We're also going after his parents, the ones who created the United Guilds. We'll eliminate them all at once. Meanwhile, back at Shelter 6, Shuzenji addressed Sora quietly. That's all. Please go and see Mie Tonosaki at the command center. She's an old acquaintance of mine. so I'm sure she will protect you. He added with a warning. Please check the curse formation as well. Once the battle starts, even Tiger's Roar won't be able to do anything if the curse formation is in place. Sora's mother reassured him softly. Don't worry, United is based here for a good reason. Okay, Sora nodded. But before they could move, Shuzenji's head snapped up, eyes narrowing. They're here, he called out. Golden Bell Curtain. The defensive barrier shimmered into place, but his expression darkened. They brought 4 Ezras here. Boss! The men cried, rushing towards Sakuya. Shuzenji's expression tightened even more as another figure emerged from the darkness. What? Even Mukai himself came? Yukinoju! Mukai ordered. Yes, sir! Yukinoju answered swiftly. Sakuya stepped forward, bewildered. What is this? Shuzenji clenched his fists. This is bad. All members of United, even the covert squad, have been captured by this evil spirit. There's no escape now that we've been completely surrounded. Sakuya grimaced, sensing the overwhelming difference in strength. The difference in our level is ridiculous. Shuzenji confronted them. What business could you possibly have here to visit us in the middle of the night? Shiraya answered coldly. According to the evil spirit, he's not here. Where is he? Mukai demanded. Shuzenji feigned ignorance. Excuse me? I have no idea who this he you're referring to is. Hiro snarled. What was that, you bald monk? It seems you lack proper manners, Shuzenji replied, not budging an inch. If you have a death wish, Hiro threatened, then I'll make it come true. But Sora's mother swiftly activated a barrier. Barrier! Activate! At the same time, the oppressive voice of the evil spirit rang out. You have been afflicted with Yoi Mukujima's curse of weakness. You have been afflicted with Yoi Mukujima's curse of weakness. You have been afflicted with Yoi Mukujima's curse of weakness. Hiro scoffed. How annoying! Even if I'm cursed by a level 68 piece of I alone can crush United. Shuzenji's eyes gleamed. It seems like you're underestimating United too much. Suddenly, Hiro's body faltered. What? He growled. My level? It decreased by 30? Shuzenji smirked. Without your high level, you're nothing. Sakuya stepped forward. Anyone standing in the cursed zone will have their level reduced by half of the caster's level. In other words, your levels have been reduced by 34. Can you still fight in your state? Mukai, instead of panicking, grinned. Coo! This is getting interesting! Rimu! He barked. Yes, Rimu responded, moving into position. Mukai laughed darkly. As long as you're all in the palm of my hands, Sora will definitely return. Ha 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 ha! The scenery shifted. Welcome to Athena's arena. Shuzenji swore. Shit! Mukai looked around, almost gleeful. It's been a long time since I last found an equal opponent. How exciting! He raised his arms dramatically. At least I won't be bored waiting for Sora to fall into our trap now. As for the hindrances... Some of United's men, still holding out, shouted. Where are the boss and the others? You! What did you do to the boss? Mukai's eyes gleamed with menace. Dispose of them all! Sora approached the woman stationed at the command center, her presence authoritative and firm. She must be Mi Tonosaki, he thought. I'm from the Union, Sora announced. I've come to seek the military's protection. The woman turned, lowering her weapon. Are you Sora Mukujima? Sora nodded, surprised at her recognition. There's something I've been meaning to ask you, Mi added sharply, though whatever it was would have to wait. Meanwhile, inside Athena's arena, Rimu raised his voice solemnly. O gods, bear witness to my battle. Let your miracle guide this duel. Each side shall send forth 5 warriors. Whichever team claims 3 victories shall earn the blessing of Olympus. The defeated shall be scorched by the divine light and perish. Hiro finished with a wicked grin. Sakuya scowled, his gaze sweeping over their surroundings. 5 warriors? What do they mean by that? There are only 8 of us here. For now, yes, Rimu answered ominously. Mi, back at the shelter, glanced toward the arena's projection. The star of the show is still on its way. Inside the arena, Hiro barked mockingly. Which one of you wants to volunteer to die first? Shuzenji lowered his head, guilt weighing on him. My shallow judgment has led us to this situation. But Sakuya stepped forward, voice steady. Just you being here with us is more than enough. None of this is your fault, Kaji added with resolve. Yoi's curse has lowered their levels, so we've got a shot in one-on-one battles. He glanced at the others. He's right. Yoi isn't built for combat, so if the three of us can secure a win, victory's ours. Shuzenji's eyes hardened. The Ars Ezra is the most brutal of them all. After becoming an Ezra, he once took down an entire guild of 3 Ezra users by himself, just by unleashing Ars's overwhelming skills. He took a breath, determination firm in his voice. But fear not, I've got a plan against him. Please, let me handle the first battle. Might I request a duel with you? Rimu gestured commandingly. Warriors, take your positions. Commence battle. Hiro stepped forward with a sneer. Enough of your crap. Is that all you're gonna do? Run? Sakuya clenched his fist. He's got this. From the sidelines, Shiraya Yukinoju observed closely. He made the first move and then kept his distance, huh? This is gonna be rough. Rimu, Shiraya called out. Hiro's attacks aren't that weak. Sakuya called out anxiously. Shuzenji, are you okay? Hiro grinned maliciously, landing a strike. How does the Fang of Cadmos feel? Shuzenji staggered but held his ground. Cadmos, that must be Ars's pet snake. I never thought it'd possess the Ars Ezra and coordinate with his melee attacks. Hiro's grin widened as he tightened his grip. We're just getting started. Cadmos still hasn't had its fill yet. Shuzenji staggered, his breathing heavy. Damn it! It got faster! Ah! He swiftly activated a barrier. Golden Bell Curtain! But realization hit him like a blow. No, it's me who got slower. Across from him, Hiro grinned with cruel amusement. You're pretty tough for a monk, he sneered. But I guess that's about the extent of your power. Sakuya, watching anxiously from the sidelines, clenched his fists. The gap between them will only keep increasing if the fight drags on. Can Shuzenji hold this one out? Hiro's voice was sharp and mocking. How does the dragon's poison permeating throughout your body feel? Let's see how long you can last. Shuzenji, rather than answering, closed his eyes and began to chant softly. Throughout the void across all realms of Dharma, Hiro scoffed. Do you really think muttering prayers is going to do anything now? Rimu narrowed his eyes, sensing a shift. Am I imagining things? Or is divine power enveloping him? Shiraya frowned, unsettled. That's weird. He's not even an Ezra. Where is he summoning all that divine power from? Shuzenji continued steadily, his voice unwavering. Throughout the void across all realms of Dharma, Sakuya's eyes widened in recognition. It can't be. It's a risky move, but for him to come up with a breakthrough solution in this situation, we might be able to win this match. Shuzenji's chant deepened in tone. All is one in essence, forged in the Bajra realm. I bow before the living embodiment of all Buddhas. Vaira Bodhisattva's 100-syllable mantra. Hiro laughed maniacally. I don't give a damn about God. Do you seriously think that puny move can block my attack? Ha ha ha. Idiot. Are you trying to go hand-to-hand with me in that armor made from divine power? I like your guts. He sneered as he prepared his next strike. So this is your breakthrough plan. There was also a dumbass like you among the people I've killed. He thought he could block Cadmos's fang by condensing his divine power. But what he didn't know... Hiro's grin widened. Was that divine power is a source richer than even fresh blood? I'll devour every last part of you, just like I did with that idiot, drown in the depths of despair and die. His eyes suddenly widened in alarm. What? He managed to suppress Cadmos's poison and regain his speed with his divine power? No, it's not just his speed. Even his power and his reflexes. He's powered up in every way. Still clinging to confidence, Hiro growled. However, he's the perfect fodder for Cadmos. Damn you! Stand still and become Cadmos's food already. Shuzenji dodged cleanly. What? Hiro snarled, forcing his hand. Your divine power is mine! I win! But his smirk faltered. What just happened? I can't control my divine power? Shuzenji's voice was calm, but sharp. Don't you think it's a bit too early for you to rejoice? He met Hiro's stunned gaze. A Reiken's power is heavily taxing on the body. Hiro staggered, panic setting in. You mean to say, Cadmos can't absorb your divine power? Impossible. Shuzenji gave a cold, knowing smirk. When did I ever say this was divine power? You're too naive. Elsewhere, Sora's mother spoke softly, as if to herself. I couldn't understand his feelings as to why he wanted to convert to being a Reiken back then. Not only does it prevent you from ever becoming an Ezra, All your power will be limited to physical strength. Karmic power is incredibly strong, but hard to control. The Ars Ezra has absorbed more karmic power than he can control. Moving a muscle will prove difficult for him. Shuzenji confirmed her words aloud. It appears your frequent bad deeds have left you with zero Zen power. That's why it's impossible for you to take control of my karmic power. Sakuya punched the air triumphantly. Yes! What did I tell you guys? He can win this one, Rimu muttered in disbelief. I had no idea such a job even existed. But Shiraya growled, eyes narrowing. Don't get cocky. A cheap trick like that isn't enough to win you a fight. Don't underestimate us Ezras. Hiro gritted his teeth, feeling the strain on his body. Tch, I don't even have enough divine power now to maintain its form, huh? He smirked darkly, eyes gleaming with defiance. In that case, I'm going all in one last time. Shuzenji narrowed his eyes, sensing the change. What a deadly poison its blood is. Kaji, watching from the sidelines, perked up at a new sound. A war drum? Sakuya's expression darkened in alarm. It can't be. Hiro raised his hands toward the sky. General Ars! I offer the blood of the poison dragon. Grant me your spear, so that I can fight on, until this body turns to dust. Rimu's face grew tense. A divine weapon. Even we Ezras cannot use it without offering a sacrifice. One can only wield it temporarily. It carries the power of the gods and adapts to the fighting style of the bearer Ezra. Shiraya clicked his tongue in frustration. This has got to be the unbridgeable gap between normal players and Ezras. It's over for Shuzenji, Rimu murmured under his breath, his gaze wary. But Hiro offered the poison dragon Ars gave him. If the gods see through that little trick, they'll definitely be pissed. Then again, knowing how merciful Ars is, he might forgive Hiro if he wins. He paused, frowning. But on the off chance that he loses, I can't even begin to imagine what kind of punishment awaits him. Rimu shook his head grimly. No, there's no way a regular player could beat an Ezra wielding a divine weapon. Shuzenji saw Hiro moving. He's going in for another close-range hit? His eyes darted around. Where did his spear go? He shouldn't be able to reach me at this distance. No, wait! Coup! Hiro's voice snarled with savage glee. Explode! A powerful burst erupted, but Shuzenji's reflexes saved him by a hair's breadth. Crap! Fortunately, I deflected it with a mantra just in time. Is his spear poisonous like his dragon's blood too? Notice, due to the corrosive effect of R's blood, Robe has lost 50% of its defense. Shuzenji grimaced as he saw his robes disintegrating. It even broke down my armor! His senses screamed danger. Here he comes again! To his shock, projectiles surged toward him from different angles. He can fire those from other parts of his body, and not just his fists! Hiro taunted him. Let's see you try and dodge this! Shuzenji gritted his teeth. No good. I can't read his moves at all. Every hit received only destroys my equipment more. Even with the impact suppressed by karmic power, he's still this strong? If I hadn't weakened him earlier, I'd be dead by now. His mind raced, desperate. I have to keep my distance, he began chanting with grim resolve. May the three realms be purified, all conflict be cleansed, and ardent sins be erased, Hiro sneered, sensing his faltering. You're hitting your limit already, but don't think keeping your distance will save you. Unfazed, Shuzenji invoked another spell. Silent Dharma Chant, Onran. Note, Silent Dharma Chant, Onran, a holy incantation that purifies and banishes obstructive forces. The effect of the poison dragon's blood is now weakened. Hiro snarled in frustration. You're trying to seal my movement with a spell and win from a distance? Too naive, Sakuya shouted in alarm from the sidelines. Shuzenji, look out! A surge of energy shot toward Shuzenji, barely missing. That was close, he muttered. Suddenly, an ethereal voice filled the air. Interferers shall be punished, Sora's mother gasped. Darling! Sakuya cursed under his breath. The flames are gone, but... Hiro laughed viciously. You'd be dead if no one got in the way. Oh well, looks like they were punished accordingly. Shuzenji breathed heavily, assessing his battered condition. Close combat is risky as it is, but he controls those blood arrows even at range. Considering my remaining stamina, I probably have 3 minutes left. Still, I have no choice but to fight. Hiro pointed his spear toward him. Stop wasting your time. I win. But Shuzenji's eyes gleamed with defiance. All dharmas return to one. Dharma eye open. Shuzenji steadied his breathing, eyes sharp and gleaming. Thanks to the Dharma eyes, my speed is way up, but it won't last long. I need to find an opening fast. His gaze locked on Hiro's weapon. That spear isn't holding much divine power. And those blood arrows from earlier. I get it now. Hiro's face twisted in alarm. What? He shouted. He saw through my attack? Shuzenji's voice cut through the tension. So this is your blood spear, huh? What a letdown. It's weaker than I expected. Impossible, Hiro barked. From the sidelines, Shiraya stared wide-eyed. How did he block blood as fine as hair strands? Rimu watched keenly, his voice low and certain. His eyes, it's as if they can see through everything. Sakuya clenched his fists. So he really has a counter to the Ars Ezra. Shuzenji narrowed his gaze, the Dharma eyes still active. With so much malice within you, it's no wonder you have also developed such a wicked mind. I guess I'll just have to exercise it all. So what if you saw through my attack? Hiro roared. I can freely control any blood that comes into contact with my divine power, Rimu explained from the side. The divine power in the blood isn't evenly distributed, and since it's so thin, it can slip through the enemy's defenses. Let's see how he plans to turn this around. You've got nowhere to run now, Hiro yelled. Die. Dharma eyes, Shuzenji invoked. Ku! Damn it! How? Just how? Hiro shouted, bewildered. Shuzenji began chanting, voice steady and resolute. All sentient beings are shrouded in ignorance, bound by the fetters of worldly desires, and fall into the three evil paths where they suffer immeasurable pain. Rimu suddenly called out, Watch out for his eyes! He can see through your movements! What did you say? Hiro snapped. All your attacks will be meaningless, Rimu warned. Kaji pointed out irritably. That lady is trying to interfere with the fight. A woman from the referee panel called down. This is your first warning, Rimu sighed. Understand, Kaji grumbled. Why do they only get a warning when you got penalized earlier, boss? Sakuya hushed him. Drop it. Let's make sure he wins first. Hiro shouted in fury. I don't need your help. Those Dharma qualities. That invocation. You monk. That damn invocation. Shuzenji's chanting deepened. Yet if this sutra is recited, it shall manifest before us, dispelling those obstacles and granting peace and ease. If there are sentient beings, let them earnestly recite my name with true intent, Rimu observed quietly. It's an invocation all monks first learn, but that doesn't mean it's weak. If anything, it drastically increases your offensive and defensive capabilities once you manifest the immovable wisdom king within you. Hiro gritted his teeth. That chant takes 30 whole seconds to complete, and in that time, not even the slightest shift in energy is allowed. Shuzenji's voice was calm. To recite it right in front of your enemy is an unbearable insult. Gah! Hiro screamed, charging recklessly. Rimu muttered, disappointed. That idiot! He thought to himself. He could have broken the seal first, then disrupted the chant. Die! 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 Hiro shrieked, slashing wildly. Shuzenji knew his advantage. This chant can draw in the blood of the evil dragon, so forcing it to stop would take a massive surge of divine power. But with the Dharma eye focused on him, a surprise attack is pointless. He won't even land a scratch. Die! Hiro howled again. Damn it! Shuzenji cursed under his breath. 15 more seconds. Is blood coming out of his eyes? He's at his limit. Bullshit! Hiro raged. Are you telling me I can't even throw him off balance? God damn it! Off to the side, Shuzenji's mother began counting down. 9. Rimu took a breath. Ha! 6. Tisk! Shiraya clicked his tongue. 3. Sakuya muttered, heart pounding. Shuzenji's voice rang out for the final lines. The power of the mantra, the merit of this sacred chant burns through ice like oil and calms the mind like water nourishes the tree. All things follow the mind just as Bhagavan does. With the final note, Hiro collapsed. At least I managed to finish him off before my Dharma eye reached its limit, Shuzenji thought. A referee woman raised her voice, and the first round goes to Shuzenji Yukio of the United Guilds. We did it! Sakuya cheered, relief washing over him. Rimu's eyes narrowed as he watched the defeated hero, bloodied and barely standing. It's healed? You need to try harder, he sneered coldly. Around them, murmurs from the other men in the arena echoed. Athena's hypocritical coliseum, huh? This place makes me sick, one of them grumbled, disgust heavy in his tone. And you lost in a place like this. I'm sorry, Hiro started trembling. "Silence, loser!" a man barked, cutting him off. His gaze was cold, merciless. "Father sent you a message. He said he's disappointed in you. Now you get the honor of being executed by me." He smirked, drawing his sword. "Wait, my sword of Damocles wants a piece of you too." Sakuya, watching from a distance, clenched his jaw. "So that's how they treat their own Ezra." The man raised his blade toward Hiro. "Consider that father's final mercy. Farewell." Hiro's eyes burned with hatred. "Shuzenji, next time I swear I'll kill you." "Unfortunately," Shiraya interjected coldly, "there won't be a next time, because right now, they'll be burned alive by Hades' eternal hellfire." "I'll handle this," Sakuya said, stepping forward with determination. His wife reached out, offering him something in her hand. "Take this. You're up against a Reaper Ezra. His power connects to the spirits. This might help." "I'll make good use of it," Sakuya replied, his expression steady. "Notice. Received an item from Yoi Iwashima. Added to inventory." "Best of luck," Shuzenji called out, and Kaji echoed him with a firm nod. "I'll be right back," Sakuya promised them. He reviewed his strategy in his mind. "As a samurai, I can project sword aura to pressure distant enemies. But that takes time to charge. In a one-on-one, close combat's the best move. First, I'll close the distance with flash step. Then follow it up with rapid strikes so he can't counterattack. Find a weak point, take him out in one clean hit. It's straightforward, but also the most effective tactic. And if that doesn't work, warriors, take your place," a woman's voice commanded from above. "Let the battle commence." "Die!" Shiraya roared, his ghostly form blurring. "I'll slip through his spirits with flash step and analyze his moves." Sakuya moved, his form vanishing in a blur. Shiraya scoffed. "Is this everything a samurai can do? The same old tactic?" "What? I missed? Crap," Sakuya realized in shock as his strike passed through empty air. "Is that all?" Shiraya mocked. "It's useless. Your attacks won't land on someone who doesn't even have a physical form." "He's over there!" Sakuya spotted him, but immediately more spirits materialized, surrounding him. "There's an infinite number of us vengeful spirits," Shiraya declared. "You'll never slash through us all. A samurai who can't even see his enemies is worthless." In that case, Sakuya's hand tightened on his sword. "I won't give you time to charge up that sword aura." Shiraya moved in, spirits closing the gap. Rimu leaned in toward Hiro. "This is what a fight between an Ezra and a regular human looks like." "Shh." Hiro gritted his teeth. "He just got lucky." "Lucky?" Rimu scoffed. "In case you didn't know, it's rare for a samurai to become guildmaster." He studied the opposing team carefully. For someone of an inferior position, she's awfully calm. Looks like they still have something up their sleeves. "Oh?" Shiraya chuckled darkly. "Is that a new technique?" "Watch out!" Rimu shouted abruptly. "What?" Shiraya snapped, eyes widening.